Hoy es un día muy importante en la bolsa. Algo que muy probablemente a nadie le importe, pero a nosotros los degenerados que nos gusta hacernos ver como gente de bien, gente estudiosa, gente que aprende cosas nuevas, gente que lee el mercado en vez de simplemente vernos como degenerados apostólicos, ¿no? ¿Qué es lo que es? Aquí estamos viendo uno de esos días. ¿Por qué hoy es un día muy importante para el mercado? Porque Nvidia tristemente da resultados y simplemente digo tristemente porque claramente estamos en una racha de mercado donde estamos viendo que una empresa con niveles ridículos de evaluación comparado con cuánto dinero están haciendo realmente el día de hoy, es la que carga todo el mercado. Literalmente, esto es lo que vamos a esperar. Nvidia reporta justamente ingresos después del cierre de mercado, así que vamos a estar pendiente. Lo que espero el día de hoy es simplemente un mercado tablas y al final nos va a dar el movimiento en el post. Así que, ojo, lo que sí es, si ves al precio irse de un lado antes de cierre de mercado, probablemente sea un fake out, así que mucho cuidado. Pero no se preocupen, vamos a nosotros disfrutar lo que siempre hacemos por acá, vamos a ver gráficos, vamos a analizar todo, ya saben que nos gusta y estamos metidos en Bitcoin, así que lo que vamos a hacer es darles un buen análisis de absolutamente todo lo que nos pidan aquí al lado y vamos a empezar. Voy a traer a estos genios, al buen Alex, al buen Farhan, pero tengo que decirles antes para todos los que estén viendo esto y que quieran aprender, les estoy dejando el enlace en la descripción de abajo del Discord donde pueden venir y ser parte de nuestro grupo. Es completamente gratis, platicar con todos los traders que están ahí, ver los análisis de estos dos cracks. Y usar nuestras herramientas también si gustan usar un exchange, están buscando eso, ahí tenemos todo en el Discord, está en la descripción de abajo. Vamos a empezar esto, como de que no, porque es miércoles, agosto 28, vamos a empezar con el papá de todos, con Bitcoin. Recuerden, vamos a hacer esto en inglés y yo les traduzco a español después, tristemente, así que ahí vamos, es para todo lo que les alcanzó en este canal, cabrones. My fucking guys, welcome.
What up?
Good morning, fellas. How you guys doing?
I wish I looked as good as you and as fresh as you, knowing what I know, what you did yesterday. I really
Yesterday, day before yesterday, day before that. What can I say? Mexico is fucking awesome.
I'm very jealous. I'm glad you guys are enjoying your time out there. So let's get going. First of all, is there anything you guys want to put out there so that people are aware of? Maybe some piece of advice. We know that we have Nvidia delivering results today.
Yeah, what I want to say about that is like whenever you have one of these economic events, you want to see how price is moving into it. Almost always, it does the opposite afterwards. So if price is pumping into it, we'll almost always dump afterwards. And if price is dumping, it's going to pump afterwards, almost always. So you got to watch what price is doing going into the event.
Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm a big believer on chart than news, but earnings are kind of a little different, you know, in the sense that it's really a coin flip unless your name is Nancy Pelosi. So watch closely today. I think it's going to really be kind of helpful to gauge risk on. And then also with Bitcoin, you know, it's very choppy right now. And like we said, usually this amount of predatory moves means a huge move is brewing. And that's what we're going to get into.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just expecting a flat market today, and then towards the end, it's going to do maybe a little move towards the opposite side, just like what you're saying, Farhan, and then it's going to leave us there, wait for tomorrow. But I do think the maximum pain possible event that could go down is Nvidia delivers results. They're positive, and tomorrow, whenever like we have a massive buy in the market, and tomorrow there's a dump.
Yeah.
If I were the market maker, that's what I would do.
That would not surprise me.
Everyone has a trigger finger to long Nvidia right now. Once they hear all beat, they're gonna long.
What I've learned about market makers is the guy who taught me to trade, the dude Eric Crown. He used to be a market maker on the New York Stock Exchange, ARCA. So he's been telling me like the past couple of years about how market makers work. And he's like, bro, market makers do not give a fuck about which direction the market goes, because what they do is they sell options based on a buy ask spread.
Well, yeah.
So whichever direction the market goes, they still make money.
Yeah.
He's like they don't give a fuck whichever direction the market goes. And then there's thousands of market makers. There's so many market makers. If one market maker tried to play direction, like they try to play up or down, the other market makers would fuck them.
That's pretty nice. Good.
The house always wins. The house.
Yeah.
Wins.
That's why like I don't know if the people who are hearing, listening, if they know him, we're about to have him in October. So my plan is to have him tell us about how it is to be a market maker.
I think it's so cool to be able to get some insights from Eric just like that at that level here. I feel like everyone will enjoy it. So stay tuned, motherfuckers. Stay tuned. Now, let's get to the charts. You boys ready?
Always.
Analyze Analyze the corn.
Let's do it. Alex first and then me next.
All
Get
right. So, I mean, it's no surprise to anyone that Bitcoin specifically has just been kind of that redheaded stepchild that's just annoying as fuck. And I say that with all love because I just feel like we're at a point now where it's kind of confusing. Where are we? What happened? And that's what I'm going to try to dig deeper in. So we understood that we were in a wedge here. We talked about how the potential breakout of this was going to be on Friday, maybe Monday, or over the weekend if they wanted to take it. They took it over on Friday. That's when we started to move. It was nice because this pump was actually exactly what bulls needed. I mean, we reclaimed all the major moving averages that I use, meaning we reclaimed the weekly EMA 9 to start. That's a huge level. That's my first checkbox if we're bullish right here. Great. But now on top of it, the daily reclaimed the major level, which is the EMA 100. This was a level we've been talking about all through this shop here, that we would at least come up to it. It blasts right through it. And so that was bullish to me. That was good. That was a shift in structure, while the daily also flipped into an uptrend. Now, something we were talking about extensively going into Monday was watch the back test. Let Bitcoin prove to you that it's bullish, because what you'll often have is these big moves up and people just think, okay, it's up only. Because why? They get accustomed to this kind of price action right here. Big move up, breakout. We just keep going literally up only. I'm always on the camp. I need price to prove to me that it's bullish. And so we talked about a scenario, especially since, we didn't get back above this diagonal resistance. It's a mean diagonal resistance, but I often say if it works, let's just keep using it. And it has been working. It's been catching every major bottom and indicating every major dump. And so we understood that this was a big level, and this was a diagonal we've all been looking at for weeks now. Why I was on the camp this weekend, mainly Sunday to Monday, was the fact that why we'd get a back test is just because we simply couldn't get any daily closures above it. If we really zoom in and look, you can see bulls tried, and this tells me this was a very significant level, unable to get any daily closures, which kind of told me, okay, we're probably going to roll over. The idea here was we're going to catch support right at that 62.2, 62.5. And we didn't. It blasted right through the next day. And this is kind of where we're at now. And so it can be slightly confusing because, I try to always, when I do my analysis, never flip-flop. I'm bullish one day, bearish the next. All of last week, I was pretty bearish. It was kind of a time was running out for bears, and they essentially couldn't press it down last week. Then we pump on a Friday, which is already in itself a little sketchy. I often say weekend pumps are like a man with no shirt on. Never trust a man with no shirt on. Far knows exactly what I'm talking about. And basically, that's kind of what we got. I was mentioning on Discord, our Elite Trading Academy Discord, this is why it's crucial to be in here, because I was always talking about this resistance. We can't disregard it. Another point, too. We can't disregard tether dominance, which is what I'm going to get into next. But so where are we now, right? Okay, cool. So we understand the story. We deviated. The daily deviated for sure. We're now on watch for the weekly, because if the weekly loses the 9, that'll be another deviation pretty quickly too. And it's never a good sign when you reclaim a level like this and it just retraces this entire move, totally disregarding what the bulls did. Now, on the flip side, right? I always will give both sides. What are bulls looking for exactly right now? Bulls are looking for this essentially. Right here. If you can see here, let me put these lines, right? Focus on these red lines here. Boom, boom, boom. This was the low that happened during that Japan basically carrier trade news. All that information dumped down. VIX hit 60. We marked it on our chart with this blue line. Awesome. We've been moving up slowly. This little dump here was the next higher low, in my opinion. This was the low, and then we moved and made a higher low, higher high. Because of this right here, it got broke. And so now we've come back, and technically speaking, the hope PM right now is that we are still in an uptrend structure. If you can closely see here, price is still making higher lows on the daily, even though we are deviated on the EMAs, even though it was a engulfing candle. Technically speaking, we are still in an uptrend, right? It makes a lot of sense when you look at it like this. We popped up, came down, came up, and now we're going back down. And visually you can see it. And so bulls want just the higher high. That is the scenario 1 of hopium that we can't like not acknowledge, but also it doesn't hold that much weight. And I'm going to explain why. Because, for a while we've been talking about the weekly. And I've been on the camp now that Bitcoin is in a weekly downtrend. Right? Each of these little lines are the last lower high. And we put this line here. And the idea was we wanted to break above this to potentially test these highs here. And we rejected it. To me, this is now looking like the next lower high. And that's how bulls are going to interpret it. The next step would be to break this low, which probably comes in to my target here that I've said if we do massively dump, I think we're going to hit this 41 to 44K level, which lines up with this weekly EMA 100, another massive level that Bitcoin has never ever flirted with since we started this bull market. So if we come down, that's an area that this should be a massive play. If we lose this, it's over. We're going to have a bear market, in my opinion. You can see the reaction here, losing it. Always we get a reaction when we tap it, fine. But where will that reaction take us? It's a shift structure. And that's kind of what we need to be on the watch now. Why I'm looking at the weekly too. And yes, daily still is in an uptrend. How do we know though, Alex, when the daily's fucked? It's easy, right? So if you're bull bias right now, it's actually really easy to be bull bias. Where would you, if you're longing around here, your invalidation is right here. You do not want price to wick even under this low here that was formed on August 15th. If it does, we've broken structure down and it's now in a downtrend again. And the trend is what? Your friend. That's the Hopium A. The Hopium B is still the monthly. I mean, the monthly is still holding above the 9. And this is something I've extensively talked about. That's another tick in my bull market measures if we're above the 9 on the monthly. That's still happening, but not a great sign that this monthly closes in 3 days. What that tells me is we're going to see a massive volatility. And if bears are really going to flip this down bearish, in the next 3 days, I do think Bitcoin then will probably be under this monthly 9, which is currently sitting at 57,269. That level is interesting to me because it's sitting essentially right where that last higher low was, maybe $1,000 higher. This could give Bitcoin a lot of momentum to dump if we start breaking this to the downside again. Okay, so then that's the daily. The weekly though has been a key point for us to watch closely, and I just don't think we can disregard that. This is looking like a bearish retest of this massive line that we were holding for many weeks here. We got the false breakdown, came up, another lower high, came down, formed a lower low. We rallied up. This is the lower high potentially. And I talked about this on Monday. We don't want to add this. We don't want this to be another deviation here, just like this was. And why am I looking at the weekly on Bitcoin? Well, it makes sense, right? We've been very, 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 very vocal about the fact that tether dominance is in a weekly uptrend. And we started talking about it right around here. And it's easy to identify. It's just like with Bitcoin daily, we would expect this to just keep moving in a trending manner. This was the higher high. Tethered bulls are essentially looking for a low here, which makes sense. And I'm always looking at the chart in a way that, okay, what is price trying to tell me? And if we look here, look at the reaction with this gray line here. Let me make it slightly bigger. This reaction with this gray line is interesting to me because you can see when when tether dominance, my apologies, came all the way back down, it was unable to actually hold this. And this led to the bigger drop. I do find it odd now how we're actually holding this instead of falling below. To me, that's strength. And it's also showing that there's like a shift here. Tether is becoming quite bullish. And the fact that it held this line is holding the weekly 9 still, pressed up against this EMA 100 on the weekly, is interesting to me. And even if you want to be like, okay, well, we are at resistance, that's true, but this still has 4 days to go. And as it stands right now, if this does get back above this weekly EMA 100 on tether dominance, that'll be a massive shift. I mean, last time that happened was in November of 2021, going into the massive bear market. If this does happen, then I will be on the camp that the monthly is probably not going to hold on Bitcoin, and we need to start putting our bear market goggles back on to make it easier for us. Because if the trend, if the overall macro is telling us that something here is brewing, then great. And right, just like on the flip side, we rejected it once and came all the way down. That's kind of what Bitcoin bulls want here. They want this resistance, which If you guys have been following me a long time, we have a meme line resistance with a massive moving average, should be strong. The issue is we've hit this already a bunch of times, which is now weaker. So if price does end up closing weeklies above this, we are statistically more likely to be in a bear market in Bitcoin, in my opinion. We still aren't though, and that's fine because we know the monthly is still holding. Another point of congestion that it's a little concerning to me is, this is a big level for Dixie. Ignore all these meme lines, focus on this white one because that's where we're at. This is a big level. Each time we've come down, price has made big moves from this point. Now you can argue, well, Alex, Dixie really hasn't been correlating with Bitcoin a lot, even risk on. And you're right, it really hasn't. But that always changes. And it's never, I often say there's always balance in the force. It always comes back. It may not in this current moment, but it usually does come back. And what we don't want here is Dixie to start actually reclaiming levels, come all the way back up to this level, put in another bearish retest, right? When we go from this point to here, and then we break out this point to here, why wouldn't we assume that Dixie is going to come back to this point like it always does? And from there, will it reject or not? That puts pressure on Bitcoin as well. And the fact that it's already looking weak is not a good sign. The next thing is here. This channel wedge that I have here on CME, and remember, Bitcoin futures is what the institutions like to trade. We've been perfectly respecting it. If you like to draw midlines on these channels here, you could argue we're just rejecting the midline of this channel, which isn't good. And you can see here that there's a point on the 3-day right on that 47 to 47.6 to 48,000 that really hasn't been tapped yet. To me, that it's ominous. It's kind of brewing. IMO was not a good sign. We rejected this mid-range. And so where are we now? Okay, cool. So bulls essentially want us to keep this daily trend. They really want this low, and this low to hold. Bitcoin can still come down. Can even come down all the way down to here, 6,800. What we don't want is it to break the August 15th low if you're bullish. This would then theoretically be the next higher low, and we'd look for higher. Because though the weekly's in downtrend, in my opinion, because tether dominance is in an uptrend on the weekly, and because we've already deviated so heavily, and on top of it, we rejected. If you go and backtrack this, right? I remember talking about this losing, and then we mega dumped. And so what basically happened? We broke out of the wedge. Everyone max longed it because even like me, I was waiting for a back test. I'll never long up here. I will never do that. But I will always say I'll let price prove to me it was bullish. And unfortunately, it did not. We basically, to me, put in a massive bearish retest here. Came all the way back down and basically desolidified what happened on Friday. I took a long yesterday, tiny long, right at the level I talked about. Got stopped out. And then I mentioned on our Elite Trading Academy Discord, that's weakness. We do not want, that's something we need to mentally note is the weakness at the reaction of the 62,500 level. And then I just sort of wait for the next daily closure. And that's kind of where we're at now. Bitcoin is now fallen back totally below this wedge, bearish. And it's even retesting it right here. If you put a lot of weight on this wedge working out, this is the spot where we should reject. I don't find it a coincidence that Bitcoin is almost like putting in another bearish retest of the bottom of this wedge here before NVIDIA earnings. It's interesting. And so another point of congestion is I do think if NVIDIA does bad today, I think this is going to put pressure on Bitcoin coming more down. I do think we easily now can come back up even to 62.4, but for sure 61.1. But at the end of the day, now we have to be on a bearish retest to look again. And it is annoying because we keep going from bull to bear, bull to bear, bull to bear. And the point in that is why I say it's actually interesting to me is because it reminds me a lot about this moment here where price essentially look at this chop here. I remember this area. This was September, October. This is right when essentially everyone was getting chopped. Everyone was calling for that 16, 18K low. Me and Farn were pretty bullish at this point publicly. And what we see here is what? Massive pump up, massive dump. I remember this day. I remember this clearly. Then we have a nice pump up, right? These are dailies. So you have to remember, when you're seeing Bitcoin go up, 2% and then dump 1.3%. Here you're seeing it go up 6% and then it dumps 5 or 6%.
Exactly.
This is where they're trying to get you out. And I've analyzed this point in time a lot. And I keep asking myself, well, what was, because I understood it, but what could have been a way where people really would have understood that this was bullish? Is the structure here? We were still in an uptrend. And that is the opium I see now. We can't disregard the uptrend.
Yeah. And to speak about that situation back in around summer of 2023 until fall of 2023, like you were saying, how me and you were both bullish. We didn't follow each other at that point, but I'm sure Alejandro saw my stories. Was I not bullish as fuck back then?
Yeah, you were one of the first people that got extremely bullish on this shit.
I bought a fuck ton of calls on Bitcoin back then.
Yeah.
Expiration of end of 2023. Best trade I've made of my life. Alex saw the result.
Yeah.
100%. And I was also extremely bullish, and I was just telling people this is going to be a financial opportunity that most of you aren't ready for, and to just get ready. And it worked out, and we played it well far. And we didn't even talk back then. Everything's posted on my Instagram, by the way. But why am I bringing this scenario up? Is because if you look at the weekly, we were forming an uptrend here. And I don't want to disregard this downtrend that we have on Bitcoin on the weekly now. To me, it's a cause of concern. It's something that I don't want to just keep disregarding. If it's bearish, it's bearish. And right now it's bearish. And right now tether dominance is bullish. And if we don't massively reject this point, that's fine. But we most likely then will reclaim this level. And if we reclaim this level, it'll be a shift, total shift in the weekly structure here. If we do reject, that's fine as well. But then we can't just say, okay, cool, we're going up only. Because then what? We could just be putting in, like, we could just be testing the diagonal again. This was the high, and then we're looking for that higher low. Where also this will come in perfectly right around this point. So this should be the bounce zone. If so, bulls have a lot of recovering to do with Bitcoin. I don't trust the monthly. I don't think it's going to hold too well if the daily starts turning sour like we see now. So, something to watch closely. Overall, I'm more on the bias now of, we should just, because I just trade to the book. And if we deviated this massive line and the trend is down, even though the daily's up, and that's something I'm not disregarding, but that's also something I'm not telling you to just max long and we're bullish for it. I'm always giving both sides. And so right now, daily is still in an uptrend. Weak AF though, very likely, very easily could break this low here, and it's Dow shifted down. But as it stands now, I'm more looking for a little bounce here. Assuming, though, that this doesn't just reject this point. I don't put a lot of weight on these diagonals, but I don't know why, but for some reason, Bitcoin's liking him a lot, right? Where did we kind of stop on this pump? Right here on this 4 hour, and we came down. So like, that is like, to me, what's happening. And it would make sense if we rolled over here, especially which is how weak everything was and everything closed. And this was a really big violation of the chart. I guess just that's the hopium I can see, is just the daily uptrend. But really, really just like understand where you're wrong, which is here. If we break this, even wick below this, it's going to probably capitulate us lower. But that is where we're at now. I want us to see a retest of 61.3 to even 62.5 would be welcomed. Assuming we don't just reject here, which we very well could. So that's kind of my analysis. Tether's in an uptrend. Bitcoin's daily's in an uptrend, holding, looking weak. Weekly, though, is in a downtrend still. And I use those on a wick basis because it works better in crypto. If you use the trends on a wick basis, then it'll closing. And that's where we're at. Monthly's holding the 9, but I mean, 3 days to go. And if bears want, they could really turn this bad in 3 days. And when we have a closure in 3 days, it tells me we're going to get some volatility. We're definitely going to get a lot of volatility before the close. So I don't know. That's the kind of camp I'm on. I'm waiting for either a bearish retest or a reclaim. It's very simple. And it seems like, yes, it's a waiting game. It's chop. It's nothing. But that's all mainly trading is. And like, that's why we have to have our risk metrics, taking less than a 1% loss on a massive dump yesterday and then not relonging was my risk metric gauge. If I just told everyone to keep longing, I'm right, keep longing, we all would have been fucked yesterday. That's why it's important to wait for daily closures then. So overall, be cautious. That
and stop losses.
Logical stop
losses.
levels.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
100%.
Not a lot of people use them. Like, for example, me, I had that short open and still I might blow out my account, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm just
fucking banger trade, bro. Banger.
I'm just retarded. I can't believe, by the way, that this is playing out like this. It's just so little money. I don't give a fuck. But it's just my big bet. It's just my big bet because everything just feels fucked. It feels a little fucked on my side, but anything can change. I mean, I'm still open to the idea that this shit's going to go up and pick up and the stock market's going to go up and
But why?
everyone's going to be super
why?
happy.
Why would Bitcoin go up? And why would the stocks keep going up when a correction would happen? It's like really, really diminishing when you start asking those questions of why. I mean, what's the narrative now? And crypto's narrative driven. Last 2 days ago, we had Russia getting involved in crypto.
On that point, you guys remember?
News.
You guys remember in the Big Short, whenever they go to that big show when the guys are on the stage and they're trying to be bullish as fuck, and then Steve Carell goes to ask his bearish questions.
Yeah. 100%. I feel a little bit like that right now.
No, my apologies. That's where we're at. Friday was interesting. Me and Farn talked about the short. I gave the scenario on Friday. Didn't take it though. Regret that obviously, but that's trading. Now we're looking for a retest of at least some level, major level that we deviated yesterday. It would make sense to retest it. Right. And if we keep reclaiming this and losing and reclaiming it, it just solidifies the chop. But overall, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Russia getting involved in crypto is not bullish. I heard a lot of people talk about that. In my opinion, it's not bullish. Why? Because anything like Russia, China, or Iran does gets politicized. And we don't want, as us being Bitcoin people, crypto people, for crypto to be politicized. Yes, you could argue it already has been with the elections, but it's different, right? When you have like Russia using potentially a Bitcoin or even Tether, use it for trades or transactions, that's not good because now they can bypass sanctions. They can do things that make the Democrats or anyone want to put more restrictions on crypto.
Well,
I feel like it's going to bleed into Tether becoming banned in America. So
yeah, the question is, right? Like, if I'm expelling you, this is the United States and the rest of the world. I'm expelling you from my financial system, and you cannot use the SWIFT. Why the fuck am I going to let you use Bitcoin? Like, right? That's another like joint system that we all use. Absolutely. Bang on. Let me bring my chart up, explain what Alex did, and then we'll get to yours, Fine.
Perfect.
Let's go. And for you, Alex, right after Upstart.
Cool.
Ok, estamos viendo el gráfico de Bitcoin, damas y caballeros, como que no es la primera pregunta del día y es la más importante porque es lo que estamos viendo todos los días. Quiero llevarlos rápidamente a la semanal, hacer y apuntar simplemente cosas sencillas para que todos podamos entender dónde estamos parados. Una, quiero enseñarles, estos fueron los altos del 2021. Hicimos este tremendo cup and handle, patrón de cup and handle que todavía no acaba de darse. Podemos ver que habíamos hecho altos nuevos, pero estamos chopeando entre altos nuevos y esto, ¿no? Es básicamente lo que pueden ver en la gráfica semanal. Lo primero que tenemos que darnos cuenta es esto. Tenemos este alto más bajo, tenemos este alto más bajo. ¿Y qué tenemos acá? Un bajo más bajo, un bajo más bajo, un bajo más bajo. La esperanza ahorita de todo el mundo que sea alcista es que este sea el primer bajo más alto, porque ahí empiezas a formar estructura. Pero hasta en este momento estamos en una tendencia bajista, solamente viendo las velas sin más ni más. Ahora les voy a poner los indicadores. Cuando volteamos a ver los indicadores, tienen que ver, el azul es el promedio de los 9, el amarillo es el promedio del 21 y lo que ven aquí abajo es el promedio de los 100. ¿Ok? Cuando estamos viendo el gráfico semanal, podemos darnos cuenta que literalmente perdimos el promedio 9, el promedio 21, que está en 61,600, casi 700, 61,356 el 21. Y recuerden que si el 9 se va por abajo del 21, eso nos enseña que hay debilidad en el precio y muy probablemente esto vaya a pasar con diferentes cierres. ¿Ok? Es lo que estamos viendo en este momento. También otra cosa importante es esta diagonal que estamos poniendo, esta línea meme que viene desde acá abajo de enero del 2024 hasta acá. Y pueden ver cómo literalmente acá intentamos romper, no pudimos, rompimos a la alza. Bien, se logró. Acá venimos y rebotamos en ella, ¿no? A la alza. Bien, se logró. Acá venimos y nos tomó un poco de liquidez acá, rompiendo a la baja, pero no tuviste un cierre ahí. Bien, chido. Acá rompimos a la baja y nos hizo un fake out, le dijo a todo el mundo, se va, nada, güey, se fue para arriba. Pierde la línea, tienes este flashazo, esta toma de liquidez potente, mucho más grande que esta, para acá abajo, llegando a los $49,000. Luego, tienes la subida, el retesteo bajista, y eso es un retesteo bajista, ¿ok? Cuando vienes, intentas tomar esta línea, no puedes, el precio baja, intentas subir una vez más, no puedes y baja. Esto nos dice que muy probablemente, y por estar abajo de los promedios, que vamos a ver objetivos a la baja. Pero recuerden, todo esto cambia, esto está cambiando tan rápido de sentimiento como tu exnovia latina, carnal. Tienes una novia colombiana, una novia mexicana, y sabes lo rápido que cambia de humor. Es más o menos lo que está haciendo los Bitcoin en este momento. Cuando volteamos a ver la tabla mensual, solamente para darnos una idea, vemos que acá también ha sido rechazado y estamos justamente en soporte en los 59,855. En los 59,850. Este es nuestro soporte. Pero estás aquí abajo y tienes aparte el promedio de los 9 en 53,366, lo que probablemente nos vaya a llevar a retestearlo. ¿Ok? Eso es mínimo lo que estamos esperando. Cuando vemos en la diaria, nos pinta la misma fotografía, pero nos cuenta una diferente historia. Podemos ver exactamente la debilidad de Bitcoin con esta. ¿Por qué? Porque acá puedes ver la línea más de cerca de cómo ha fallado, intentamos tomarla y esto puede ser un fake out a la alza, bajamos, intentamos volver a subir, no pudimos, intentamos volver, nos trepamos falsamente acá, si lo pueden ver, nos trepamos falsamente acá y de ahí caímos. Y ahora, ¿qué fue lo que pasó cuando caímos? Destruimos el promedio de los 100, destruimos el promedio de los 9, destruimos el promedio del 21, que también el 21 ya está bajo del, bueno, el 9 va a bajar del 21 pronto si sigue esto así. Y puedes ver que esta línea que he tenido acá, simplemente este soporte o resistencia en los 59,850, simplemente ha funcionado muy bien con el precio. Y esto puede ser un fake out a la alza porque el precio está chocando acá y puedes ver a dónde va. Ahora voy a prender SMA 200. Quiero ver dónde está. Y también lo perdiste. Y cada que pierdes todo esto, te demuestra demasiada debilidad del precio. Cuando volteamos a ver del otro lado, y voy a quitar mis indicadores para que no se popule la tabla, del otro lado estamos viendo Tether Dominance, la dominancia de Tether, ¿no? Que es básicamente la dominancia del dólar cripto. Y la dominancia del dólar cripto, y lo voy a poner en la semanal para empezar, dale 30 minutos a mi gráfico, discúlpenme que no he pagado el internet. La dominancia de Tether podemos ver que es alcista. De sí, en sí, viene desde acá abajo hasta acá y estás creando bajos más altos. Lo pueden ver aquí, 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 aquí. Y estos dos son muy similares, aunque este sigue siendo más alto, ¿eh? Este es un alto y este es más alto que este. Nada más no es tan claro. Entonces, y esto es en la semanal. Entonces, vienes acá, estás en un nivel muy importante. Podemos ver que nuestra resistencia en los 5,91% es muy importante para el precio de Tether. Cuando les prendo los indicadores en la semanal, podemos ver que está por encima del 9, está por encima del 200, está por encima del 21 y ahorita está retesteando el 100. Acá tuvimos un flashazo de liquidez alcista. ¿Y qué es lo que esperas si eres bajista en Bitcoin? Que esto siga subiendo. Si esto sigue subiendo, va a ser muy malo para el precio de Bitcoin, pero si acá tienes un rechazo, rompes acá, recuerda que aquí tienes dos oportunidades para, si eres alcista, si eres bajista en Bitcoin, tienes dos oportunidades acá. Tus promedios y aparte esta línea. Siempre y cuando no rompas esta línea a la baja y este bajo, estás creando bajos más altos locales y esto está consolidando para romper a la alza. ¿Por qué? Porque mientras más peleas con algo, ¿no? Mientras más piensa en esto como una puerta y mientras más vas y le pegas a la puerta y le pegas a la puerta y le pegas a la puerta y la quieres abrir, pues se va aflojando y a cierto punto después de 5 golpes se va a romper a la alza. Y acá el precio está consolidando al alza. Como aquí lo había hecho a la baja para caer, aquí lo está haciendo al revés y con bastante fuerza y momentum. Ahora, cuando los ponemos en la diaria, y esto es algo que también podemos ver por acá, es Vean cómo estamos encima. El 9 acaba de flipar el 21, que es también enseñando demasiada fuerza. El 200 cae y el 100 se va para arriba. Bien, eso también muestra fuerza. Y podemos ver cómo literalmente estamos solamente esperando acá. Esperando acá. Si esto llega a treparse del 5.91 y tienes un cierre sólido, porque no lo has tenido desde agosto, cuando cayó, ese día que tuvimos que Bitcoin cayó, esto se vería muy negativo para Bitcoin. ¿Qué es lo que quieres en Bitcoin si es que eres alcista y no quieres que todo se vaya al nepe? Lo más sencillo que te puedo decir es esto. Lo que quieres retomar es este nivel de los 61.528. Quieres tener cierres arriba de eso. Eso es lo que va a hacer que el precio se vea bien una vez más, como todos, porque de nuevo estamos en una zona bipolar donde todo el mundo se va de alcista un día al bajista más grande, al alcista más grande, y lo que no quieres es romper esta estructura. No quieres romper este bajo. Si rompes este bajo en los 56.220 ahorita, muy probablemente te abra campo a retestear toda esta zona y aún así no estarías creando un bajo más bajo. El problema de eso es esto, y espero que estén listos para ello, es cuando volteamos a ver en la semanal, Popula, ¿ok? Cuando volteamos a ver en la semanal podemos ver que el promedio de los 100 está en los 45,000, en los 45,579 y el de los 200 en 38,000. Muy probablemente, si rompemos este bajo de los 56, rápidamente pasemos por estos 49 que todo el mundo está esperando que los agarre y mínimo ir a retestear este promedio del 100 que está en 49,570. Esto va a subir, obviamente, como vamos moviéndonos para adelante, pero estos son niveles muy importantes. Lo único que quieres es simplemente no romper esto para asegurarte que todo está bien. Una vez que se rompan los 56,170, te empiezas a preocupar y luego tu siguiente punto focal donde tienes que poner atención son los 49,700, básicamente. Si eso se rompe a la baja, olvídalo, estamos en un mercado bajista. Pero si puedes aguantar mínimo esto, todavía sigue el hopium esperando a ver si podemos seguir a la alza. Eso es lo que estamos viendo, bueno, lo que vio Alex en Bitcoin. All righty, boys, Farhan, time for your shit. And again, you're muted. I need to get
Nope, I am not muted.
I need to get your goddamn indicator so I can explain this and also learn it.
They're going to be on sale very soon.
I know, I can't wait. Well, I actually can. I'm waiting.
You got to wait for Eric's birthday.
Exactly. God damn it. I've never met Eric. I've never talked to him, and I'm already really looking forward to his
awesome,
birthday.
dude.
He's very awesome. Cool.
Yeah, he seems like it. Yeah. Get it.
All right. So we're going to start with the weekly on Bitcoin. Right now, what my bias was beforehand was that we close over the median on Bitcoin, which we have not done ever since here, right around February of 2024, when the price was somewhere around $48,000. So I was thinking, okay, we close over the median, we should statistically get a move up from here. We got to remember, statistics are not certainties. There's always a non-0% chance that the statistics will fail. So right now, after we close over the median, we're rejecting the median right now at this point. And once again, by statistics, which are not certainties, if you reject the median, you have to test the bottom of the blue zone, which right now is at around $56,951. We kind of front-minded a little bit. We still have not touched that area, and we have not gotten the type of bounce that I would like to see from this area. So right now, I would say more likely than not, we have a statistical probability of hitting that 57,000 to 56,950 area. If you look at our momentum indicators, the HPDR momentum is starting to flip down right here, and the volatility is starting to flip back up, which is telling you that this is not a corrective move. This is an impulsive move in whichever direction it goes. And right now, momentum is flipping down. What I will say, which is kind of hopium for the bulls, is that we're not below the moving average yet. But if we drop below the moving average, then all hopium is gone, and it's kind of fucked, in my opinion. If we look at the jewel beforehand on the weekly, we had a jewel by cyan buy signal. Right now, it's flipping back to white, which is neutral, and it's flipping downwards. So it tells us that on the next weekly close, if we do close like this is going to flip to a dark blue sell signal. And I would say from there that my previous bullish bias has been invalidated, and we're going to go down from there. If you look based on the HPDR levels, if we do not hold this area at $56,951, which I strongly doubt we will, I think we're going to come down somewhere around the 61.8%, which is right here at right around $51,200. I don't think that area will hold either because of how many times we tested this area. I think we're going to go straight down to the 100 EMA, which is right now at $46,000, which is the same number everybody keeps talking about on crypto Twitter. Everyone's saying they're going to long $46,000, $44,000. Everyone's talking about this level. When everybody talks about one certain level, it makes me scared. It makes me think that it's either going to get front ran or it's going to get smashed through. And if it does not get front ran, I really, really doubt it's going to stop here. And I feel like it's going to come down to the 200 SMA, which is currently at 38.5. And if it goes to 38.5, at that point, I would say the bull market is over. We're in a bear market, and we got like maybe 6 to 8 months, maybe 12 months of consolidation before we ever see $60,000 again. But right now, this is an idea. We don't have that confirmed yet. We go to the monthly. The monthly right now is losing the 5 EMA. We have 3 days left to close over $61,353. If we do not close over that 5 EMA, every single time historically, the Bitcoin has been above the 5 EMA, has been a bull market. When it's lost the 5 EMA, we've had long-term consolidation or a bear market. We had consolidation for right here when we lost it 1 month, 2 months before we ended up reclaiming it. Over here, we had an actual bear market for since December of 2021 all the way until January of 2023. So probably about like close to 2 years of straight down bear market. We're getting that same sign right here. We're below the 5 EMA and we're still healthily below it. We're about almost $2,000 below the 5 EMA. So the only hopium for bulls is that within the next 3 days and 10 hours, they have to reclaim this 5 EMA. If they do, then I'll say, okay, we can consolidate from here and then we can move back up. And I would target somewhere around this top 38.2. Keep in mind, this number is going to move down. Right now, it's at $114,900. But that's only a pipe dream as long as we're below the 5 EMA. If we're below the 5 EMA, very likely we come down to $46,000, get a little bit of a bounce there, retest this 56 area, rejection, and then come back down towards that 38.5 that I was talking about before. And I feel like that 38.5 would be our if we are in a bear market, that 38.5 will be our next local bottom or macro bottom. And then from there, we probably go sideways for several weeks, maybe 2 or 3 months. And then from there, we retry the $60,000 level again. At that point, I think we would probably break to 100. But I'm not very hopeful anytime soon, as long as we're below the 5 EMA. Let's check the momentum pivots.
For Farhan, do you think Bitcoin can reach $280 million this cycle and then just reply like our friend from the Hopium?
Of course.
No, I love that he goes, I don't think 280 million, but maybe 200 million.
Guy goes, yeah, I don't know about 15,000 or 16,000 Ethereum.
On Ethereum.
Maybe 12,000. I'm like, bro, whatever fent you are smoking, please give me some of that.
I need some of it too. Yeah, go on. Fucking incredible.
So we look at the monthly momentum pivot. This is what scares me so much. This is what it will take to turn the monthly back up to a positive momentum, $71,300.
Wow.
And right now we're at the edge of the bullish critical zone. So this is the area where you would expect a bounce. So if we can't get a bounce here, like it's kind of fucked, bro. It's kind of fucked. Like you look over here. This is it. Can you see right here where we are on the stochastic momentum in this area?
Yep.
Here's where we were last time. When we couldn't hold it, what happened? Here's how much of a price drop we had. 55, almost 55%. And then we had the same thing right here. 76%.
So the average is like 60, basically.
Yeah, about 60 to 70%. If this is not able to hold this area, and it will not if we don't close above $71,300, which is a fucking massive ass move.
And that's in 3 days and 10 hours?
Yep.
Wow.
Right now on the quarterly, what are you saying?
No, that's crazy. Go on. I'm sorry.
On the quarterly, the momentum pivot right now is 38,662. You remember the number I was saying before? 38.5?
Oh, yeah.
It lines right up. This will keep the quarterly momentum still up.
And if that's your pivot right now, just I'm learning here that it's 38,655 compared to the monthly one, for example, because on the quarterly is so low and on the monthly is so high. What's the difference? Like, I understand if bulls want to see the price go up, they want to see that close above that. But now that means that the quarterly can lose the 38,000 and the monthly's running it is what you're saying.
What's most likely to happen is if the monthly closes down and this closes within 38.6, on the next quarterly closure, this number is going to go up.
Got
This
it. And then
this
it's going to
number,
become hard.
yeah, this number is probably going to go somewhere around $58,000 if I had to guess. 50
Got it.
somewhere between 58 and 48. It's hard to guess, but you can get a rough idea. So somewhere between 48 and 58 at that point. If we close the next quarterly below that, then the quarterly is going to flip down as well, and the lower time frames will bleed into the higher time frames. If you look at the weekly right now, weekly is freshly to the downside. Not only that, but the pivot is $67,400. So this is going to take a lot to turn this over in the next 4 days. And if it does not turn over, it doesn't flip back up, very likely this number stays the same or it goes a little bit higher. If it goes higher, that's probably the nail in the coffin for bulls for me. If it goes higher, I would say, okay, this thing is fucked. It's time to short every single bearish retest. It's time to aim for $38,500 if that doesn't happen. I'll end it off on the RSI divergence just to see if there's anything there.
Come on, bullish divergences. Come on.
That's the beauty of actually knowing how to read divergences, is that you don't need the indicator to tell you. You can see if a divergence is coming beforehand.
Mm.
And if you're not able to do that, then the divergences are not really worth anything. All right, so we have lower highs here.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, no divergence there. No divergence. I'm not able to find much hopium.
Oh boy.
Was the daily? Did you check the daily?
I'm working to it.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, I found some divergence here on the 5-day. So we have a low here, right here. We have a lower low, but RSI made a higher low. So we need to make a local low here, and then we can confirm some 5-day bullish divergence within the bearish control zone, which is a very, very powerful bullish divergence to confirm. The only way to confirm that, though, is you need 2 closes above 65,105. If you get 2 closes over there, you would confirm 5-day bullish divergence. At that point, I would have to target these highs right here, which is at around $69,700 or $70,000. But until that happens, it's just a pipe dream, and it's still going to go down from there until it's confirmed. On the 3-day, we had some bullish divergence, but it's been invalidated, so that's out of the question. On the 2-day, bullish divergence invalidated, so out of the question. Daily, let's see. Maybe I can find some hopium on the daily.
I think the daily is going to be even beyond fucked. Yeah.
Nope. No hopium there either. The only hopium I can find right now is on the 5-day, where we have possible bullish divergence here, but we need 2 closes above 61.05. If we get that, then we can target $70,000 once again. But until then, in my opinion, that's just a pipe dream.
Yeah. It's not looking very good. Let's just say that.
No, not at all. It's looking pretty shit.
God damn it. All righty. Thank you. And for you, Farhan, let's see. USD JPY.
Oh, it's a fun one. That's my favorite Forex pair. And then
the one I'm obsessed with is the peso, because that's just like the greatest indicator to a fuck you boom. Huh?
What I love about USD JPY is one of my oldest friends since middle school, since I was like around 11 years old or 10 years old. This is 11, 12 years old. This dude named Enrique. I've known him for the longest time. He started trading about like last year. That's one of his the main pairs. He trades USD JPY.
Oh, he must be killing that dude, because like it's been pretty obvious lately what he was going to do. So
very obvious.
I'm very impressed with how far he's come in 1 year. Very impressed.
Good for him. Unlike my retarded ass that just doesn't learn anything. Just part of being a boomer, boys. All righty, let me get to this. Estamos viendo, perdón, tengo una abierta acá haciendo mis trades malos. Estamos viendo básicamente el mismo gráfico de Bitcoin, es lo que estamos platicando ahorita con Farhan. Y básicamente, si nos volteamos a verlo en la mensual, lo que nos pinta esto es algo bastante malo. ¿Por qué? Porque en todos los indicadores de momentum, volatilidad, etcétera, que está usando, básicamente en la mensual, el punto pivote está aquí, en los 71,300. Está por acá. Si el precio en la mensual, y la mensual cierra en 3 días y 10 horas, no viene a esta zona, estamos jodidos. O sea, literalmente esto va a verse muy, muy mal. Cuando volteamos a ver el gráfico de los 3 días, que es el siguiente que usó, el punto pivote se movió a una zona bastante interesante. Y esa es la zona de los 38,600. Eso dirán ustedes, pero eso es muy bueno. Lo único que tenemos que hacer es cerrar encima de esto, de los 38,600 para que nos vaya bien. ¿Dónde están los 38,600? Más o menos por acá. Y donde en la diaria, no, es en la semanal, disculpen. Donde en la semanal hay convergencia con ese número, y ahí es donde empezamos a ver lo mal que se ve esto. Ahí es donde está el S&P 200, que no hemos retesteado desde este pompazo en octubre del 2023. Entonces, este punto pivote de los 3 días en 38,600 nos está dando bastante confluencia con esto. Mucha gente está poniendo el S&P 100 como el primer objetivo por ahí de los 44,000, y normalmente cuando eso pasa, que está escuchando mucha gente decir lo mismo, lo que pasa es o el precio no lo va a venir a tocar y se va a ir para arriba, o el precio va a romper hacia abajo. Entonces, no es bueno que tanta gente esté esperando esto, ya sea para los alcistas o los bajistas. Pero esta zona de los 38,500 es una zona que tiene demasiada confluencia. Y para cerrar, lo peor de todo, en el gráfico de 5 días, básicamente, acá el punto pivote y el cierre de esto es en 4 días y 10 horas. El punto pivote son 65,160. Entonces, por acá, si el precio no llega a cerrar en 5 días, en 4 días por acá, y además la semanal literalmente en 3 días hasta los 71,000, esto se ve cocinado y para abajo. No hay divergencias alcistas escondidas en ningún lado. Tenemos que esperar a cierres, pero básicamente lo que queremos es rápidamente retomar este nivel de los 61,000 si somos alcistas, y de ahí irnos potentemente a esta parte alta del canal, pero del precio. Pero si no lo hace, muy probablemente empecemos a ver todavía más downside. Lo que también notó Farhan es en la mensual, y esto yo no lo tengo prendido, déjame ver si lo puedo hacer rápido. ¿Cuál edito? Voy a agregar uno, al carajo. Indicador, espérenme. EMA, bla, 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 Daily Moving Average Exponential. Espérame. Vamos a usar uno bastante estúpido. EMA 3. Ok, vamos a usar esto. Y ahora... Ok, no necesitamos nada de esto. Length 5. Lo que estoy creando un EMA de 5 días para la gente que se pregunte cómo hacerlo. Nada más agarras uno de estos indicadores y tú mismo lo editas. 5 length. No, ¿cómo? Tiene que ser 5, padre. ¿Qué estás hablando? ¿Por qué me está...? Ah, porque son varios. Ah, no me va a servir este. Quiero usar uno de estos. EMA 55. Un segundito, perdón. No. 5. Y lo tengo en close. Bla, 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 bla. No. Este probablemente no me vaya a servir. ¿Dónde lo tiene? Acá, sí, ahí está. Y aparte te da un indicador que esto va para abajo. Ah, en serio. Vean dónde está el EMA 5. Y normalmente cuando pierdes el 5 es bastante malo. Y tu siguiente visita es el 9. Entonces, atención a esto. No sé si lo puedan ver tan de cerca. Aquí está el 5 que coincide literalmente con el 61,476. Está un poco abajo, pero ya lo perdimos y el precio está abajo. Es muy importante que no perdamos el 9 en la mensual. Si perdemos el 9 en la mensual, estamos cocinados, señores. Faltan 3 días, 10 horas para no cerrar abajo de 57,279. Así que ojo con lo que se viene. Ok, voy a esconder esta. Y vale, vamos a darle para adelante con las demás gráficas. Así que pendientes a Bitcoin, puntos pivotes y también los timelines, porque es importante también que todo cierre rápido. Alrighty, boys, let's go on to...
It was Upstart.
Superverse, no? Oh, Upstart, yeah. Only one per person.
Yeah, you gotta remember what Crown does, because Crown does these streams too. When I first watched, people ask multiple tickers, and he's like, "Bro, you gotta give everybody time to get one too."
I thought it was
Yeah,
short.
just
My bad.
come on. Don't be dicks.
Nice.
Wait. Oh, there it is.
Yes, sir. Nice. So here's Upstart on the weekly. Nice breakout that's happening currently. It's looking okay. You know, we basically are about to get a weekly silver cross to the upside with the 9 basically solidifying that it's not corrective, which is nice. That's welcoming. That's what we want to see. That's bullish as well. So currently what I'm seeing now is massive resistance right here. Not only did I draw this dashed line, let me make it slightly bigger so you guys can see right here. This is basically representing the last basically major low. Major high. My apologies. Major high before going down. This is a big level, and not only that, but if you put a bearish fib retracement on the weekly using this closure here at this low, yeah, we're basically approaching the golden pocket zone. Which is going to be interesting to me to see the reaction, because not only do we have that wick high right there, but we also have that golden pocket zone sitting right. The level is $46.66 to $48.85. What bulls essentially want to see is us to hold above 30, call it $39. Bulls want to hold above this dashed 0.5 level in the fib retracement to actually have a chance to shoot up here. Now, if Upstart can actually go and move up and break this wick high, to me, this is a shift in structure. And on top of it, it would mean that we are reclaiming the golden pocket zone, and we'd have to target the 786, which is at $58.14. What you'd want to see is potentially us to keep moving up, squeeze higher, break this high, come down, roll over, and form another higher low here. That'd be very, very clean and very logical. And as it stands, you know, this Upstart chart on the weekly is trying to put in structure slightly, not the cleanest because it's still not breaking this high yet. But this is something I like to analyze when I'm looking deeper into maybe trading. If I have a bear bias in this zone, I want to see if we're at least breaking these lows. If we just keep making lower lows, and we didn't. We came up, we rejected bears. This is the lower high, and they bidded it, and it worked well. This was a big dump from this point. Right here, from there, this was 57%, massive dump. The issue here with bears is if you really zoom in and analyze this low, it still is unable to break this one here. Like I said, I use it on a wick basis. It works well with Bitcoin, and that's just what I do. So now we're getting that expansion up. What we want to see, and what you would assume then to confirm this as an uptrend, dirty higher low here, is essentially breaking this next high. And this is currently the high that was made on December 18th. This is on a weekly, by the way. And it's essentially at $49.62. Golden pocket corresponds right around there as well. If we can get back above there, or even wick above, to me, it confirms that this is now in a weekly uptrend, and we'd have to then look for the higher low. Most likely coming in right around the zone here, that 0.5 zone on the retracement, with also maybe backtesting this breakout. It'd be very helpful.
Check out your SMA 100, your EMA 100. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing analyzing that. You know, this is a good point also that you mentioned, Alejandro, is essentially, yeah, we have massive resistance here. If we go and backtest this, there's really not a lot of data because this chart's fairly new. This solidifies that this golden pocket zone, right? If we go and put this back on and we go from this point down, it solidifies that there's a massive resistance coming here. What bears would want essentially, right? Because I gave the bull side, you want this wick high to break now. This would be the next dirty higher low, and we're getting that expansion with the breakout. What bears want is us to roll over here. You want it to basically hit the 618. Can't even get above the 618 to hit the 65. You want us to just reject the 618 and roll over, and you would then be looking at forming another lower low. Right, the uptrend's not confirmed yet, and we can have a potential higher low, but this is nothing. This is just potentially just another low where we're rolling over and forming another lower low. And that's what's more confirmed right now, even if we're getting a nice breakout. Confirmed if we break this high, and this is a good point. This weekly EMA 100's big. And not only is it massive, but also that golden pocket zone's big, because this is where big pumps can come once reclaimed.
Let me show you something, if you don't mind. Just because we have another thing that's a little different on our charts.
Yeah,
and that's Upstart. So on the weekly, number one, we're about to silver cross to the upside. And on mine, it's holding the 100. And the interesting thing is, right before that, it came right here. It couldn't hold it, and he just lost it. But right now, it's holding it right there.
Interesting. Is that
Yeah.
your weekly EMA or SMA 100?
No, weekly EMA 100. Sorry.
Yeah, I have no idea. Then
We'll figure out. Yeah, exactly.
Showing, because I have the same plan as you as well. So is it giving you data from the start of December 20th?
It starts
December 2020.
It starts on November 2022. The 100.
Interesting. Yeah, we have to look deeper into that, because then I have no idea why I'm not getting the right data as you, which then just doesn't it basically yeah, then I don't. If I don't have the right data, then I can't analyze it correctly.
Well, and how do I know I have the right data? Yours might be right. So
why would that be the reason if we both have the premium plan and we're both looking at it from the NASDAQ point?
Let me see 1 second. Make sure that it's the same chart.
Right, it's Upstart.
It should be the same. Should be the same.
What about you, Farn? What about your weekly EMA 100 on Upstart?
Where do you see it?
Let me check it.
Because that's a major difference, is if it's intended or not, in my opinion.
Yeah, versus holding it, and specifically when you got a mega rejection of that super high that he did before, like right there.
Where's my 100? Oh, I don't have a 100 in this one. Let me add it.
Cool.
Quickly add it though.
Yeah, 46 is mine. So I would be interested.
This is why, like, to everybody who's watching, this is my favorite moving average indicator. It's called CTMAC, which stands for Caretaker Moving Average Crossover. You can because usually you have to set a different indicator for each moving average you want, but with this one you can use one indicator for all of your moving averages. And it also tells you what price it would take for those moving averages to cross as well.
I put it on my chart. I don't use it, but I have it, and this is it right here. Very cool.
So my 100 is currently at right around 2670-ish area. 2670
on the weekly.
On the weekly,
yeah.
EMA.
Yeah, 100 EMA. Oh wait, no, 1 second. It might be the SMA. Let me make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be. It is definitely the SMA. My bad.
Sir.
I'm retarded.
No worries. No, it's okay.
It's at $41.
Mine too.
So mine's wrong. I'm gonna ask trading what's going on, but okay, so that's interesting. So then if we're essentially above this, and
if I can say something, Alex, are you using which 100 EMA are you using? Just the 100, like for the indicator?
Yeah, just the EMA 100.
I would recommend the CTMAC. The guy who made this is the same guy who makes the HPDR. He makes the PMRP, he makes the BBWP, and he makes the Caretaker's RSI.
No, I know, and I have it. It's right here. I see that. I just prefer using it visually on my own.
That's why I always say this man, the Caretaker, is a godsend.
Clearly. I didn't know that he also did the HPDR. I guess you told me, but I forgot. Let's see.
I think you made yourself
fine. My bad. I said he makes everything I love. The only thing he doesn't make is the jewel, and that one is by Crown.
Okay. Well, let me finish this. Let me just turn this off.
I'm sorry.
Let me know if it's not right, because that's a big point. I don't feel comfortable giving too much analysis, and if my things aren't right, I am on the premium. I do have that I don't understand. So, anyways,
you can pull up the CTMAC if you want right now. Click on the indicator.
I know I have it. I just it's right here, right? This is the one that you're talking about.
Yeah. Click on settings, and then you can change whatever EMAs you want and moving averages.
Okay. Well, I'll do that later, because
no worries.
For now I'm just gonna do this.
What I would also recommend is that you remove the crossover box, because that one kind of gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah,
for sure. And I don't use this because I like to identify them by myself. But you're 100% right. So if that can mitigate it, I'll start using it. And you're right, Andre. There is a silver cross potentially happening. We have strength with the 9 above the 21 now. It's not confirmed though. So we need this weekly close to confirm the silver cross. It's about to happen though, where they're meeting. What could be confirmed in 2 days if price can basically close around here or higher, in my opinion. But yeah, for now, I'm still not disregarding that this $50 level is a big level. It's a massive level on the chart. And that's something that if you're bullish, and even if my EMA 100 is not right, it's fine. We'll go off price structure. And if you're bullish, then you would expect that this low is the higher low, and we're going to break this high here at $50 and move up. If we can break this high, I do think we're going to squeeze up a little bit more. This chart gives you massive ranges, big inefficiencies up and down. So it's very volatile. So ideally, that's what you'd want. You don't want it to roll over. Let me just go real quick to the monthly to check this out. Insane monthly, very strong, closing in 2 days and 6 hours and well above the 21. It's a big point in this chart. It's never actually been above the 21. Granted, it doesn't have that much data, but then you can argue, okay, we've only had then what? 1, 2 closures above the monthly 9. This one was the other one. And so when I see this, and this is a Monday, so it's harder. We'd want then we would want 2 or 3 closing above. If we can get back above the 21, what you don't want is this. Nice pump, strong candle, big deviation. That's not what you want. So like ideally, you want this candle to close. You want to see the reaction if we do close above the 21, lining up perfectly with the diagonal, which tells me then if we do get a close like this, then I would be watching the diagonal retest. That could be an opportunity right around $35 to $33.90. Assuming we don't just roll over here. If we start rolling over and coming back down, it's not going to be the best of signs, and you're gonna look at this as the next lower high right here. But for now, it's breaking out, it's looking strong, and I have the next target at around $50. So something to watch as well. You want this to flip up, you want the trend up, you want it to hold this zone for the next move to potentially $70. A big range in this chart. But that's what I see, and it's volatile, and especially when you have a stock that's kind of just been held down, not really doing much here. It can move aggressively up and it can move aggressively down. Watch very carefully, and yeah, we just can't disregard this monthly. This is a very strong monthly. Granted, this chart gives us strong monthly candles. Is it just, can it sustain it? Can it sustain a rally? Can it hold the massive level like the 9 and the 21 for more of a chance to upside? Now, for curiosity's sake, I'm interested to see when last time it silver crossed, or if at all to the upside. And honestly, it has not. This was a failed silver cross. Nope. Yep. It still has not ever silver crossed. So this would technically be the first silver cross in this chart's history, which is interesting to watch and observe, because then that could solidify more of the strength we're seeing now with this higher low potentially, giving us that higher high. The bulls have the momentum, especially with how the monthly is forming. We just want to see if it's sustained momentum or if it's just going to be another big deviation like this chart likes to put in. 1, 2, 3, ugly rejection, almost like an evening star, down. 1, 2, 3, massive rejection, down. So what we don't want, right? It's nice that we have 4 here, 4 green candles on the weekly. You want this to keep going. You don't want this to turn red IMO, because then this could look like a rollover. This candle could turn into an evening star in the weekly easily still. We have that wick high and the body is still forming. So that easily could happen. That's not what you'd want. So keep watching closely. If we do come up and we reject this level, your metric should be, did we break this wick high? We did. Oh yeah, but we're rejecting. Fine. I'm on higher low watch, and I'm watching this basically $34 to $36 zone. That could be an opportunity, which does solidify basically the monthly, retesting potentially this 21 here if we do close above it, assuming, which as it stands, it seems like we might. We'll have to see though, right? I mean, it's 11% above. It's nicely above, but a lot can happen in 2 days and 6 hours. So watch closely. That's my Upstart chart. Not a lot of data we're working with, but this is what I see. And this is my honest opinion. I do think that it could be forming an uptrend. We just essentially need to break this high here.
Excelente, senor. Thank you so much. And Rivian for you, Alex.
All righty.
You can't go a day without checking our Rivian.
Rivian, yeah.
How's your R1 T order coming? That's the SUV, right?
It would be R1S. Yeah.
Oh, R1S.
I actually need to call him back. It's just a lot of conflict in the house because of the wifey. She's the one that asked for it, and then she saw that there was seven seats on it. She's like, I don't want it. Then
what's wrong with 7 seats?
I don't understand. She was like, I need to drive it. I was like, it's the same size as the pickup, but like whatever. And then she goes, no, I want an Aston Martin. I was like, okay. So I called Ivan to get an Aston Martin, the DBX, and the only one that he's got that makes sense because interest rates are insane, right? instead of like the Rivian, which can just be bought cash. The only car that Ivan has that is worth the money that he's putting in, it's a brown on brown, and she didn't like it. She's
Just
like,
get her a
"Man,
G63, bro. Get her a G63.
she doesn't give. Dude, I tried to buy her an Urus and a G63 for her birthday on Christmas, and she won't take. I don't know what the fuck
She's not taking a G63. That's a shock to me.
I don't understand. And she keeps telling me that's the only car I want. I'm like, let's just
How
go
many-
get it.
How
No.
many G63s has she had since I started watching your channel? I don't even remember.
11.
Yeah. Alondra, before you start, your EMA 100 on Upstart's at, you said it was at 4113.
Can I show you? Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll
Yeah, I
show
think
you.
I fixed mine then.
On the weekly,
Mm-hmm.
4113. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I fixed it, and just you can add on the point that this is the first time we've actually been above it on the weekly. So
Yeah,
solidify
which is
the silver
nuts.
cross. Yeah.
Just a matter of this. And also, I like that the Silver Cross also coincides with this support and resistance line.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. Thank you. I'll do this. Let's get to it. Ok. Aquí tenemos Upstart, una empresa de software, obviamente. Quiero enseñarles varias cosas. Vamos a empezar con la estructura mensual y lo voy a hacer sin los indicadores, ¿no? Para que puedan ver bien dónde va el precio. Esto es algo bastante nuevo. Empezó en diciembre del 2020. Ha tenido un precio máximo de, un segundo, de $402. En este momento está cotizando en $42. Eso quiere decir un 10x para arriba si es que llega a tocar ese precio una vez más. Podemos ver que hemos estado en caída bastante potente, luego tuvimos esta subida, un alto más bajo y vamos para acá. Pero cuando prendemos nuestros indicadores nos dicen otra cosa. Podemos ver que el promedio de las 9 lo tomó en esta ocasión, es la línea azul, pero nos rechazó acá el precio, por ahí de la zona de los $69, nice, y de ahí bajamos. Caímos y perdimos el 9, intentamos retomarlo, lo perdimos una vez más, para que lo puedan ver más de cerca, lo perdimos una vez más, intentamos retomarlo y el 21 nos rechazó, intentamos retomarlo y volvimos a caer, volvimos a caer, volvimos a caer, y ahorita lo rompimos a la alza y no solo ese, sino que también el 21. Esta vela le quedan 2 días y 6 horas para cerrar. Eso es bastante importante para todos notar. Ahora los voy a llevar a la semanal en lo que esto se ajusta. Voy a quitar mis indicadores para que puedan ver. Simplemente vamos a ver estructura primero, ¿no? Y aquí tenemos la estructura de precio. Podemos meterla en este triángulo. Pueden ver cómo lo respetó. Intentó romper, no pudo. Rompió, se apoyó y ahora subió acá. ¿Qué estamos viendo en Upstart rápidamente? Bueno, este es tu fondo. Este es un bajo más alto y estos son bajos. Este es un alto más bajo que este. Por casi nada, pero lo es. Así que esto es una tendencia alcista, aunque no estés creando altos más altos. Lo que sí es, tienes este alto que es más bajo, este alto hasta ahorita que es más bajo, pero cuando prendemos nuestros indicadores pueden ver varias cosas pasar. Uno, el 55 y el 21 están a punto de cruzarse a la alza. Esto es un cruce plateado, un Silver Cross a la alza, que está justamente en el nivel de los 29.96. Con el cierre esta semana donde está, probablemente lo tenga. Este sería el primero del precio en total que ha visto esta acción. Eso es uno. Dos, la 9 superó el 21 y el 55, que le da bastante momentum alcista. Y la otra cosa es, tenemos el promedio de los 100, el EMA 100 acá, se está apoyando por primera vez después de que de un mega rechazo que le había dado por acá. Entonces, las cosas se están viendo bastante bien para Upstart. Yo creo que lo que quieres hacer mínimo en este momento es tener un buen cierre tal cual donde estás o encima de los 41.12 esta semana para poder seguir buscando nuevos objetivos. Cuando lo ponemos en la diaria, rápidamente ajusto. Cuando lo ponemos en la diaria, tuvimos ya el cruce plateado, el Silver Cross. Aquí atrás podemos ver el movimiento expandiendo y puedes ver cómo el EMA 100 también subió sobre el SMA 200, lo que también indica bastante fuerza. Estamos aquí arriba, no hay ninguna vela de tope todavía, indecisión, nada, nada. Y nuestro siguiente objetivo van a ser los 46.65. No nos preocuparía si el precio viene a rebotar acá y luego se va para arriba, siempre y cuando respete esta zona. Si hace eso, se ve bastante bien. Lo único que nos preocuparía sería perder el nivel, sobre todo en la semanal, es la que yo estoy viendo. Sobre todo en la semanal, perder el nivel de los 41.12. Queremos aguantarlo lo más posible, aunque podamos venir a retestear acá, no habría problema, puedes venir hasta retestear la 9, por ejemplo, pero lo más fácil sería simplemente aguantas acá y tu siguiente objetivo son los 46, de ahí los 50 y de ahí los $60. Esto tiene una pinta bastante buena en este momento, simplemente es cosa de ver dónde cierra el precio en más ocasiones. Vale, pues, Dios. Alrighty, let's go on to, this is an open question. If NVIDIA has good results, do you think it'll do a market contagion? Or if the results are bad, do you think everything will go down?
So usually NVIDIA is what leads risk on. So if NVIDIA does bad, I would expect the NASDAQ to go down, which would lead into the kind of the S&P also going down, and also Bitcoin going down, because Bitcoin usually follows NASDAQ as well as QQQ. Same thing on the opposite side.
So you do think that it'll be a leading indicator of whatever happens? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And Bitcoin is my leading indicator before NVIDIA, and it's not looking the best. So, I mean, if NVIDIA doesn't do well, and why I say Bitcoin, it's higher beta risk. It's just more risk, more volatility than even NVIDIA. If NVIDIA rolls over here and does bad in earnings, and Bitcoin's already on the edge, yeah, I mean, I'll at least be looking at that to affect Bitcoin. I can't speak highly on the S&P. I mean, maybe Tesla gets hit. I don't think it'll deeply affect Apple too much. But I just think things that are more the risk on will start selling off, and especially like altcoins, Bitcoin, ETH.
Yeah. Sí, para contestar la pregunta en español, sí, pensamos que literalmente Nvidia vaya a contagiar a todos. Es como un indicador adelantado de todo el demás mercado, sobre todo el Nasdaq. Es una parte tan grande de todos los índices también que lo van a seguir. Y lo que dice Alex es que él ve a Bitcoin adelante de Nvidia, o sea, como el indicador adelantado, y lo que está viendo con Bitcoin es esa debilidad que estamos viendo todos, y eso no pinta nada bien para Nvidia en este momento, por ende. Pero personalmente, si yo quisiera cogerme a todo el mundo parado, ¿no? Si yo fuera el que hace el mercado, Nvidia tendría buenos resultados y luego les tiro el mercado, porque eso nadie lo esperaría. Nadie, porque todo el mundo, literalmente todos lo vemos tal cual. Si Nvidia da buenos resultados, todo el mercado tiene que subir. Si Nvidia da malos resultados, todo el mercado tiene que bajar. Y probablemente a la alza también. Si Nvidia da malos resultados, que trepen el mercado sería algo que nadie esperaría. Alrighty. USD JPY, son.
Let's get it. USD JPY. Let me switch to my HPTR chart because we're going to start with that one first.
Share your screen, por favor, señor.
Oh, my bad. I remember to unmute myself, but I didn't remember to share my screen.
You know, this is not that easy. People think it's easy, but it's not that easy. All right, I got it down here. I'm a fan of the pair. Right, big fan of your pair.
Pair of what, sir?
Exactly.
All right, so we're looking at the weekly on USD JPY. We had this big move down since around July, and we found a little bit of a bottom at the 100 EMA. But we found we deviated below it and we closed above it. Now we're retesting that bottom. Some could call this a double bottom, but I'm not really a big fan of double bottoms because the way I think of it is the market rarely gives you two opportunities to buy the bottom or two opportunities to sell the top. So I'm looking at this right now as for now until it proves me otherwise. I'm thinking of it as a bearish retest. And if we look at the momentum indicators, it's even the same thing, where we're at the extreme bottoms on HPR momentum and starting to flip back up, whereas volatility is extreme highs and starting to flip back down. So it's telling you whatever move happens from here is going to be a corrective move, and we should be looking for a bearish retest if it goes up from here. And after that, and especially because we're basing off the 95% range. So it tells you that there's only a 5% chance of continuation from here. So very, very likely you expect at least some type of pity bounce from here. Where I'm thinking that we bounce up from here, if we're very bearish, we're going to retest this 5 EMA and we're going to reject it at $146.75 and then continue downward from there while these ranges move up. My bad. While these ranges move up. At that, until the ranges move up, though, I would expect sideways or a little bit of a dead cat bounce before the ranges move up. Because if unless it's like something major comes out, I would not expect us to break the 95% range. Like, for example, something comes out with like Japanese government or Japanese Central Bank of Japan putting in like an insane move that they've never done before, I would say we're probably not going to break the 95%. If we go to the monthly right now is literally exactly where you would want to see it right now. It's trying to base off of the median on the monthly HPDR, which is at $145.79. If it can somehow close this month over that area, I would say we probably retest it again, and then from there we probably made a local bottom and our next local higher low, and we can move up from there. But if it loses the median, though, we'd have to target at the very least this bottom 38.2, which is currently at $140, but more likely the 50%, which is right now is at $137.66. And our monthly HPDR momentum is also starting to flip down. It's right around the neutral zone. So from here, we could easily flip back up. But we're just waiting to see what happens after this monthly close. If it flips back up after this monthly close and we're above the median, I would say we've made our next higher low, and we can move up and make a retest those previous highs. But if this HPDR momentum breaks down into the negative territory while the volatility starts flipping back up, I would say we're very likely going to retest this 50% area, maybe even go lower to the 61.8. And by that time, this 55 EMA will rise up to the 61.8, and that'll be somewhere around $135.20. Right now, I'm thinking that that's what probably happens based off what the weekly and the monthly momentum indicators are telling me. Let's look at the RSI and see if there's any divergences. One thing I gotta say though, on the Discord and all that shit, I love to see people using the silver cross. I love to see it so much.
Oh yeah.
Before we talked about the silver cross, nobody used it.
Yeah, I mean, I had no fucking idea. I learned it from you guys, and it's pretty good. I gotta give it to you guys.
All right, so right here, what is this low? This is 140.98, and this low is 144. So there's no divergence here. Let's see the monthly. Monthly has 3 drives of bearish divergence, which still has not confirmed a local bottom yet. Right now, we're finding the easy target, which is the 21 EMA. If we don't hold that 21 EMA, very likely we're going to come down to the 55 EMA based on the divergence. And that one is right around, and this number is going to go up after this next monthly close. Very likely it's going to be around that 135 number that we were looking at before. So right now we have multiple things giving us that same 135 number. Let's look on this. Right here on the quarterly, we have some bearish divergence right here too. We have a high right here. We have a higher high, but the RSI did not go as high. So right now we have some bearish divergence in the monthly, and it is confirmed as well. And the easy target for that bearish divergence is going to be this middle zone right here. And what is the price for this middle zone? Keep in mind, this number is going to move up after the next closure. But right now it's at 126. Probably going to move up to 135. So now we have 3 different setups giving this at 135 number. So much confluence in that area, it's crazy. So I would say more likely than not, we probably test 135 before we try a little higher, if we even do.
I would say the same just by looking at this, to be honest with you. Looks pretty good. Pretty simple, to be honest, which is pretty hard to say with a currency, right? Because normally it's like, what the
currencies
fuck
are complicated as fuck. That's why I don't trade currencies.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking hard. And especially when you're looking at this is like an uptrend, and it looks pretty good, even though it's got this fall because it's making a higher low, if you will, right now. But it won't for a long time. It looks like it won't. So, thank you, sir. Bueno, vamos a empezar rápidamente con los 3 meses en el yen contra el dólar. Es el dólar contra el yen. Esto es literalmente cuando vemos el peso, por ejemplo, que vale 20 y tantos por dólar o 20 por dólar. Aquí valen 144 por dólar, es donde está cotizando el yen en este momento. Máximos históricos me parece que fueron aquí, o mínimo los locales. No me voy a echar tan para atrás porque esta es una moneda y tiene décadas de historial, pero está por ahí de los 161 yens por dólar. Y en este momento estamos cotizando en 144. Cuando estamos viendo la trimestral, podemos darnos cuenta rápidamente que estamos perdiendo el 200 y vamos a ir a buscar el soporte de la 9, que está en 144. En alrededor de los 130, 131, y recuerden que mientras más cierres, más van a subir estos niveles. Tienes el promedio de los 21, que probablemente va a subir a esta zona por ahí de los 135. Y hasta abajo tienes hasta los 119, el 55, que es un poco irrelevante. Esto obviamente lleva fuerza, estás simplemente estructuralmente hablando, creando altos más altos con bajos más altos, desde este, pero cuando nos acercamos un poco más, y es lo que vamos a hacer rápidamente, porque esta es una tabla que definitivamente merece verlo en diferentes temporalidades, sobre todo grandes, podemos ver que nos rechazó el 9. Y acá el 9 rechazándonos en 150 y perdiendo el 21 es algo bastante bajista en mi opinión. Antes está siendo el front run y te lo está dando en la mensual, ¿no? Que te está diciendo que probablemente vayamos a retestear el 55, que se vaya a mover por ahí de los 135, que también coincide con los indicadores de Farhan, cuál sería el siguiente objetivo de precio. Cuando volteamos a ver la semanal, podemos ver cómo perdimos el 200 y estamos literalmente, cómo perdimos el 9, el 21, el 9 se fue abajo del 21, el 55 literalmente está acá en los 148, lo que probablemente nos diga que vamos a venir a retestear esta zona. Si es que es bajista el precio, ¿no? Vamos a venir a retestear esta zona y cuando vengas a retestear esta zona, probablemente lo que haga el precio sea esto y esto para abajo. Eso es lo que estamos viendo de acuerdo a esto. El promedio de los 100 está en los 144 por dólar y en este momento estás a nada de perderlo en la semanal que cierra en 2 días y 6 horas. Puedes ver que el S&P 200 viene aquí abajo en los 130, lo que probablemente lo vaya a hacer subir y hay demasiada confluencia en este nivel, en el de los 135, lo que probablemente nos hace pensar que ese vaya a ser nuestro siguiente objetivo de precio, destruyendo estos bajos y creando nuevos bajos a partir de esto. De aquí tenemos que ver cómo se comporta el precio y si puede aguantar estos bajos, pero de nuevo, estás viendo una moneda, no es algo que pase diario, ¿no? En la diaria es un poco más bajista la historia también. Tuviste un cruce, un plateado a la baja acá arriba y este Silver Cross que te dio el 29 de julio, te dio un Don Peru de ¿cuánto por ciento? Hasta abajo de casi 10%, pero en este momento en donde estás de 8%. Tengo curiosidad de ver acá personalmente qué pasa cuando pierdes un Silver Cross, qué tanto se baja esto como en promedio. 5%. Acá no lo perdió, acá sí. 3%, por lo que este bajón es mucho más fuerte que los promedios pasados. Entonces estaría yo pendiente a otras temporalidades, por ejemplo, probablemente la de 3 días, para ver si el precio... ¡Uy! Aquí está. Aquí está el hijo de puta. Aquí hay un cruce plateado a la baja, un Silver Cross a la baja. Eso quiere decir que hay más downside en el precio. La última vez que había dado esto fue de nuevo acá. Y eso nos llevó a un 5%. Sí, esto tiene cara que va a caer más. Y pueden ver cómo en la de 3 días también estamos recargados en el S&P 200. Sí, o sea, esto se ve algo bajista, digamos. Aunque la estructura sea alcista, todos los puntos de momentum, volatilidad, etcétera, nos están diciendo que esto va a ir para abajo, señores. Esto va para abajo. Es lo que tiene cara. Se puede ir de lado un rato, que es lo que pensamos vaya a ser, y de ahí ir a buscar los 135. No crean que va a colapsar a cero, por el amor de Dios, es una moneda, pero mínimo vamos a estar rangueando en esta zona. En el futuro cercano es nuestra opinión. Vale, pues. Alrighty. Remove. And what do we do? Oh, Rivian.
Our favorite
Let's go.
stock. Cool.
That's right.
Alrighty, boys. So I'm gonna look at the daily first. I think it's interesting. We're actually at a key level here on the daily. If you're bullish, you essentially want this level at $13.70 to hold. Corresponds with all kind of major moving averages clustering here: the 9, the 21, and the 100. And I did fix my 100, so yeah, that
Nice.
should be correct now. I'm not feeling happy about that, but anyways, this solidifies the support. If we break and lose this, this is going to just look like another lower high to deviation. If we do lose this EMA 100 on the daily, I'll look to filling this gap here fully. And I'm also looking at $12.25, the actual meme line I have. There we could get a bigger reaction. But until then, I mean, the trend is your friend. And this was the lower low it made, popped up nicely, rolling over now. If we deviate these moving averages, it won't look the best. Very much like Bitcoin. Nice pump up, reclaim, just to roll over and potentially form another lower high. Curious if we have any kind of crosses, and also where this estimate 200 is. Let me throw this 100 off, throw this on. And you could just see, if you guys just trade only on the estimate 200 and the 100 on the daily, it's telling you this is a big spot. If we lose this point here, we've deviated the estimate 200 and the EMA 100, and we can act it. Last time basically that happened was here before we had a mega dump. So ideally, you guys, if you're bullish, you want to hold this $13.60 level. Curious to see if we have any kind of crosses or any indication of weakness. And we can see here, no crosses. If this does come down and break down, it will. This 21 will cross below the 55, but as of now, no crosses. What we can do though is we can look maybe at the 4 hour and see. Yeah, nothing here either. We do have this silver cross. It's slightly fresh right here if you trade off the 4. But yeah, other than that, not really seeing much. If we go to the weekly now, the weekly is actually turning into not a good candle. I believe this could be an inverted hammerhead. We like hammerhead to the upside. It can be to the downside. And this also is closing in 2 days. So, what we're seeing is a lot of like good weekly candles flip into really bad weekly candles. And that is not the best. Like when we get these big pumps up, like big pumps, and then they sell off, they leave these wick body, long wick bodies. And then this gives, in my head, it's like a visual representation of like, now price has all this weight and it's going to press down. This is not a good candle that you don't want to basically close like this or lower, especially at rejecting the 9 still, solidifying resistance. If we break this line, this meme line, we're most likely going to fall below the 21. We've been kind of chopping around that. If we do break the 21, I do think we're going to get that more aggressive move down. And I'll be looking at $12.30 as my next target. Not the best of signs overall on the weekly. I'm curious to see if I go and put a quick bearish retracement here, right there to there, where we're kind of falling into. And yeah, we're basically rejecting. I don't put much weight on this diagonal, but rejecting the fib diagonal and couldn't even reach the 0.5. Now below the 382, and we have to look at the 236 is the next level, coming right around $12.94. I do think if we come down there, I don't see why we wouldn't hit my $12.30 level. Today's going to be very key in my opinion. You definitely want this level to hold or get some kind of reaction. You don't want it to roll over, because then what you then have to look for is essentially it rolling over and then consolidating, coming up, bearish retest to down. That would be what to the book you would be looking for if we did lose this 100 here, along with the 9 and the 21, while giving maybe a fresh silver cross to the downside within the next few days potentially. So not good. This has a lot of weight to the downside. This is a almost 5% candle down today. So it's not the best of signs with this gap here as well. This is kind of like the last stand on the daily, and this is kind of where bulls want to hold. I'm curious to see where the 2 days. Let me take this off.
By the way, just going to take a parenthesis right here. I'm sorry. Dude, the market's taking a mega shit, right?
Yeah.
Or am I the only one? Because all of my stuff is literally in red. Everything is in red.
I haven't even been looking.
It is, and this is what I when we were on stream, I gave the bold call.
Ooh, look at Bitcoin.
If I gave the bold call that if bears want to flex today, they're gonna reject this diagonal, and that's exactly what happened. We break this low, which we're testing now. This was bulls wanted this to turn into an uptrend.
Look at ES. Look at ES. It's fucked.
So breaking this low is probably gonna make us go down a lot more.
Not the NASDAQ futures. Oh God.
Yeah, not the best sign, but let me just go back to Rivian and finish this up. Be cautious, and market is basically, it's like what Farn said, selling off before Nvidia earnings. I have no bias on that. You could interpret it as it's bullish because we're going to go up, or markets like we've been talking about, like majors are just going to put in a macro higher low, while Bitcoin's already looking weak. So that puts a lot of pressure on Bitcoin. We easily can come back down on ES1 to like 5,500, still be very bullish, and that could just be another higher low. Where would that put corn? Is that going to take us here? Unsure. And it would make sense that Bitcoin would top first over everything else. But as it stands, ugly. NVIDIA is looking pretty bad. It is approaching support, major support. So just be mindful of this level.
Rivian.
My apologies. Yes, Rivian.
No.
Be mindful of this level at 1360. If we lose that though, then I don't see the long thesis, at least for the daily. Before I finish, let me just check the monthly. And yeah, monthly solidifies the weakness here. If we lose this 9, this is just a big deviation. We have to respect the trend while also potentially putting in a monthly lower high, meaning then that these lows potentially over time might get ran if this is the next lower high. So, I mean, chart on Rivian, it's at a very big point, and it's not a good sign that we're losing the SMA 200 and the EMA 100 while potentially putting in a silver cross in the next few days to the downside. So something to watch closely. That's it. Just you want $13.69 to hold. If it doesn't, we get a closure under that. You look for the bearish retest around this level, or at least the EMA 100 on the daily for an actual gap fill. While also going to the mean line at $13.60, which corresponds with the fib retracement right around $12.90. So something to watch, looking weak, and the trend is your friend, and this is in a downtrend. So we have to respect that. Now, if you want the bull side, just get back above $15.30. Then you can talk about this being a failed breakdown to reclaim, flipping this last lower high into support for the chance to move up, filling this nice inefficiency that came down. But as it stands, it's still in a downtrend. So if you want the easy trade, just wait till $15.30 gets reclaimed. And if you want the easy short, wait for the daily closure. And then tomorrow on the pump up on open, just punt the bearish retest and then watch for the silver cross.
I'm going to throw some hopium at everyone on this chart. It's long term, and I hope you guys are ready. But I'm
remember that's my job. So
no, dude.
You gotta walk a fine line. You're walking a fine line.
I'm dealing this hopium right now. I'm dealing this fucking hopium right now because I got it for free.
Let's see it. Farn's the hopium bull. I'm the hopium bear. So let's see the hopium on the bull side.
True. All right. So you ready? We have Rivian right here. There's on a steady downtrend, by the way, from July 2023 down to here. We can agree on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, and I'm completely front running the shit out of this one, and I'm sure you guys can see what I'm seeing. You got a massive shoulder, a massive head, and all you need is another shoulder not breaking below the 1021.
Yep. You're getting an inverse head and shoulders there in the working.
Yeah, and if that plays out, if that would play out, right?
There's one thing I'm curious about. Would you be able to click on your indicators and throw on a volume chart?
Yeah.
1 second. Yeah. That would at least take us to 24. 1 second.
Because that'll be my final confirmation.
On the monthly?
No, yeah. To click on the indicators and type in volume.
Yeah. You're supposed to, I think you're technically supposed to confirm off volume, which I don't
so when you see volume, and you see the exact thing you're looking for. You're seeing volume drop off where you get one big volume candle, it spikes up a little bit and just continues downside. So that's a perfect inverse head and shoulders right there.
Potentially.
Bam.
Potentially. But then if you go to the quarterly, it could get ugly. You talk to yourself, Farn. I think you muted yourself.
That looks pretty shit.
It could get ugly. That could get real ugly. So
this is a horrendous.
What I like to see on this is what I would consider for my system a swing failure pattern, because that last green candle went below every single liquidity level and it closed above them. So I would consider that a swing failure pattern. So I would expect some type of mean reversion out of there. But technically, we already got it.
Did it already happen? And we're rejecting it.
We're rejecting that line. So
a massive inverted hammerhead or evening star or hanging, like it doesn't look good.
You can say it's already happened. Yeah.
And you could also argue too, if you go back, 3 candles where that hanging man happened right there, the other one, That's a hanging man, bearish reversal pattern
Yeah,
to
and
downside,
you got
and you get
follow
the
through as
pump
well.
up to the bearish retest. Was that just the bearish retest?
This one right here.
Nope. The next one is the hanging man.
Plus, you have to remember on the quarterly, trend is your
No,
friend.
this is the hanging man, right?
Yes, and then
Yeah.
it's confirmed because we did get the drop down. So then we pumped up for 6 months, but now we're rejecting this. We're now rejecting it. Looks like a bearish retest in this next quarterly. If it flips red, good lord, that's going to be one of the worst candles that could happen for quarterly, in my opinion.
It still has a month and 3 days, but I agree. I agree with you. This is fucking horrendous. And the fact that it went above the line and just came back like, nope, and just got so thin at the bottom, it can still go down lower. And if it closes around 1291, this is completely fucked, right?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's fucked if that 3 month turns red. But hopium is still there. We could potentially form an inverse head and shoulders if the stars totally align. But we'll have to see and wait. Until then, the daily will be key for us, because if the daily loses that EMA 100, well, plus my meme line, plus the SMA 200 today, it's not going to be the best of sign.
I agree. All righty. What the fuck did I just do? Oh no. Okay. Sorry, boys. Just being a boomer here with technology is just not a good combination. Okay. Estamos viendo Rivian and Alex SPX for you next.
All right.
Estamos viendo Rivian en este momento y les quiero poner la gráfica, la más grande que puedo encontrar, la más que no sea ridícula, ¿no? Porque la de 3 meses está un poco apretada, pero les quiero enseñar rápido la de un mes, ¿no? Cada una de estas velas es un mes de acción. Lo primero, podemos notar que desde el 23 de julio venimos en una tendencia bajista y no podemos romper esto. ¿Quién recuerda la línea de Bitcoin cuando literalmente no podíamos pasarla? Está Rivian en una situación similar. Algo que vale la pena decirles y que estoy viendo en esta tabla, y tómenlo por lo que es, porque esto va a tomar demasiado tiempo para jugarse, ¿ok? Porque una de estas es un mes. Tienes acá hombro, tienes la cabeza y tienes algo acá que podría formar otro hombro siempre y cuando no rompamos este bajo. Siempre y cuando nos quedemos por ahí de los $10, $9, hasta los 8.90, esto haría otro hombro, cabeza, hombro invertido. Y eso nos diría que tenemos un objetivo más o menos por acá, en los $28. Nada de eso está pasando todavía, ¿ok? Entonces no podemos salir a pegarnos en el pecho y decir esto va al cielo. También otra negativa que les tengo es, perdimos la 9, el promedio de la 9, que está en 14.49 en Rivian, simplemente con esta vela mensual. Ahora los voy a llevar a la semanal. Déjenme escondo mis indicadores para que rápidamente cargue y les enseño. Vean nada más. Ok, ahora estamos más cerca, estamos en la semanal y podemos ver un poco de lo mismo, pero más, ahora sí que expandido para ustedes. ¿Cómo se dice expandido? No sé si es así, pero ahí está. Tienes la línea que va para abajo desde julio del 2023 y ahí el precio va en tendencia desde entonces, pero bueno, diría que desde diciembre de 2022 pueden ver el hombro, cabeza, hombro que se está jugando en este momento acá. Lo interesante de esto, lo interesante de esta tabla es lo siguiente. Cuando volteamos a ver acá y prendemos nuestros indicadores, nos acaba de rechazar la 9. Pueden ver que esta vela semanal, queremos que cierre arriba de donde está. Esta es una vela de tope. ¿Y qué nos estaría diciendo? Estamos haciendo altos más bajos y probablemente el precio se vaya a dar la vuelta para abajo. No queremos perder, si somos alcistas, los 13.60. Si perdemos los 13.60, muy probablemente vayamos a visitar nuestra siguiente región que está en los 13.31. Yo diría que sin problema la vas a romper porque el precio llevaría demasiado momentum para abajo y ahí muy probablemente te vas a ir a visitar los 12. Ahora, Alex tiene esta resistencia más arriba por aquí de los 12.30. Yo la tengo en los 12. Entonces, ahí tú haz tu análisis de cómo lo ves, en dónde crees que se pueda detener el precio si es que viene para abajo. Pero cuando volteamos a ver en la diaria, aquí es donde está la preocupación, porque recuerda, mientras más nos acercamos al tiempo presente en temporalidades más cortas, es más cercano al movimiento que se va a dar siguiente. Esta vela, solamente esta vela, nos hizo perder el promedio de las 200, el de las 21, el del 55 y el 9. Estamos abajo de todos, literalmente todos. Y si este movimiento se da, de nuevo, siguiente objetivo, 13.33 y para abajo los $12 o 12.30, dependiendo qué tabla estés viendo. Así es como se ve Rivian. Están literalmente haciendo un poco, y ahorita vamos a analizar Tesla, pero estás viendo un poco de lo mismo, en mi opinión. Esto es lo que estamos viendo y aparte estás teniendo bajos más bajos, bajos más bajos, bajo más bajo, y vamos a ver si lo va a seguir jugando a la baja o no. Pero en este momento Rivian se ve tal cual como lo habíamos dicho antes, en la misma situación que antes. Vale, pues. Aquí está Moy. Vamos a ver Tesla. Yeah, you're muted, sir.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, let's start with Tesla. Let's see how Father Elon is doing. Daddy Elon.
Elon, how's this motherfucker doing? Oh boy.
We came very close to silver crossing to the upside, but we didn't quite get it yet. And now we're retesting this 21 EMA. The only way to get this silver cross to confirm is that we have to get one more close, if not two more closes over this 55 EMA, which right now is at 205.27. So if somehow by the next 2 days and 5 hours we can close above that, next week very likely we open up on the silver cross. But if we don't, then the silver cross is going to be the possible silver cross is going to be invalidated, and we're probably going to move down because right now we're at 78.6. Probably going to move down to the 88.3, which right now is at $189.02. When we look at our HPR momentum, we're getting freshly break into the downside, into the bearish control zone, and we're getting volatility supporting it to the upside as well, to the downside as well. Where volatility is flipping up, and it's telling us that the momentum move, it has legs behind it, and it's not a corrective move. If you look at our Joule indicator right now, the Joule is on a downwards dark blue sell signal, and it's broken below the pink fast moving oscillator. Because the perfect Joule signals you want to see is whenever they're bunched together, and the pink is over the yellow. So whenever the dark blue crosses below the pink, it tells you that this is your first warning sign that price is about to go down. Our next area to look at is the yellow. And I'm guessing the yellow is going to be somewhere around this 88.3 at that $189 level. So as long as we close below this 21 EMA, which is $205, I would say we're very, very likely going to come down to this $189 level. And if we look at the monthly on Tesla right now is after this downward move, it came down. We tested this 55 EMA, basically the bottom of this blue 38.2% level zone. But right now, there's not much hopium that I can give to the bulls because we're still below the median. The median is at $207.67. As long as we're below the median, we're very likely to test this zone based on statistics. And since we've already kind of tested this zone sort of a little bit, I don't think this is going to hold. I think we're going to come down to this 50%, which is around $170. And this is going to be a retest of these lows right here. And we've tested this area 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, which is why I don't think it's going to hold. And we're probably going to come down to this 100 EMA, which is at $150. You look at the weekly HPR momentum, we're getting it starting to try to flip back up, but it's still within the negative territory. You see this negative 3.66. If it can break above this 0 area and flip into positive territory, while the volatility is starting to flip back up, is right now volatility is down, it's telling you this upward momentum move is corrective, and it's not going to be a move that you're actually looking for to the upside. But if that happens, this volatility does flip back up, and this goes into the positive territory, I would say we have our next local bottom in, and we're probably going to target this 50%, which right now is at $274.32. But the only way to have that happen is you would have to close over the median. And right now that median is at $207.67. And you have 2 days and 5 hours to have that confirmed. We look at our Joule right here. The Joule went down into this area right here. It consolidated around this yellow slow moving average, and it ended up flipping down into this dark blue sell signal. Right now we're trying to flip back up. We're in a white neutral signal. The only way to confirm this into a buy signal is that we would have to hold it like this and not go any lower. Preferably, we'd have to hold the 21 EMA and the median, which is around $207. We hold that. This Joule signal will probably flip into a light blue cyan buy signal, and then from there, I would have more comfort saying that we probably have our local bottom in. But until then, I would say pressure is still to the downside on Tesla. Let me look at RSI divergences and see what we got there. I don't like to see it though. I like to see Elon win.
Hey, no, it's just temporary because I think, by the way, I think Trump's going to win.
Oh, wow. It's a fact he's going to win.
I
got money on Trump. I got money on Trump.
Of course you do, you fucking degenerate. But if Trump wins, and when he wins, and Elon becomes the real president of the United States, dude, Tesla's gonna blow up like Nvidia and like nothing we've ever seen before. That's where I'm going in. Like this buying opportunity that I think is coming is where I load up on Tesla.
I'm not seeing any divergence. Let me time frames. See if I can find anything here. Nope, nothing yet. All right, so now it's invalidated. There's some hidden bullish divergence, but it's already been invalidated.
Great.
Nope. Just on the daily, I found some hopium for the bears. I'm sorry.
Hopium for the bears?
Yeah, we have 2 drives of hidden bearish divergence, which has been confirmed, and it has not been bottomed out yet. There's no local bottom yet. The only way to confirm this, to invalidate this hidden bearish divergence, is that you would have to make a local low here, and you need two closes above $213.25. If you get that, then the hidden bearish divergence is invalidated, and we can make a local bottom and continue to retest these highs. But if we don't get 2 closes above that 213.25, we're very likely coming down to this bearish critical zone, which right now is sitting at a bearish control zone, my bad, sitting at $188. And that number is going to move down next week. So it's going to be right around that 170 level that we're looking at. And we look at the VMP. VMP, once again, is based off of the jewel, but it adds a volatility aspect to it right now. This is giving us the same downwards dark blue sell signal. So what I would say most likely is that pressure is to the downside on Tesla unless you can get 2 closes above $213.25. Until then, I would look for lower.
Well, everybody get ready to eat some dick. Perfect. Thank you, sir. You want to do Amazon after?
You, buddy.
Yeah. You're muted. All right, here we go. Aquí tenemos a Tesla. Un ejemplo más de lo que estábamos platicando y de lo que por qué el tío Salo está fuera de esta tabla. Podemos ver lo que está pasando. Para empezar, tenemos también desde agosto del 2022 esta tendencia bajista. Puedes decir lo que quieras. Estamos en una tabla semanal. El precio de Tesla en este momento está en 205.30 centavos. Y podemos ver cómo literalmente no hemos podido superar esto. Aquí hicimos un fake breakout. Acá tuviste uno más chico. Acá tuviste uno más chico. Acá tuviste uno más grande. Y acá tienes otro rechazo. Como puedes ver, esta es una tendencia bajista que todavía es válida y que no ha podido superar el precio. Y todavía me podría poner más mamón y poner esto más acá, pero me gusta tenerla apretadita, ¿no? La línea de tendencia, señores, porque así me da más oportunidad de notar cuando hay un breakout y de ahí analizar si es un fake out o si no es un fake out. Entonces, hemos visto eso. Esa es una, estás viendo la tabla mensual, no, semanal de esto, los voy a llevar rápido a la mensual. Y hay varios puntos interesantes. Uno, de nuevo, en esta se ve todavía más clarito cómo no podemos romper, ninguna de estas velas mensuales ha podido romper encima de esta resistencia, lo que a mí me llamó la atención. Ahora, el precio en este momento a los 205.32, y recuerda, está en 204, 205 en este momento, y esta es una gráfica mensual. Acaba de perder el EMA 21, que está en los 213, y en el 9 que está en los 206. Estamos literalmente justamente abajito de ellos. Si perdemos estos, tu siguiente nivel está en los $193, que también tiene mucha confluencia con lo que Farhan estaba diciendo con los $188 de sus indicadores. La cosa es, si perdemos estos niveles en este momento, viste que el 21 se trepó encima del 9 y que vientos chido, estás perdiendo fuerza en este movimiento a la baja. Cuando volteas a ver la semanal, y esto es donde se empieza a poner buena la cosa. En la semanal venimos y rompimos todos los niveles y ahorita estamos aguantando la 21 a los 205.2. Si rompemos la 21 abajo con este cierre y en este momento ya lo bajamos, el precio está abajo de la 21. Si continuamos con eso, acá muy probablemente lo que vayas a tener es un cruce plateado a la baja, un silver cross que se vayan a juntar porque el 55 está aquí arribita y el 21 está acá. Y eso es algo que tienes que tener bastante pendiente. Otra cosa importante es en la diaria. En la diaria puedes ver cómo literalmente nos rechazó el 55, nos rechazó el 9, el 21 ya está por arriba y estamos perdiendo el 100. Y ahora vamos a ir a probablemente retestear el 200, que es el S&P 200, que está en los $203. Si no podemos retomar para el cierre mensual los 213, que es donde está toda esta confluencia de promedios, si no podemos retomar los 213 en la mensual, esto, señores, va a ir muy probablemente a esta zona, a la de los 190, 188. Y ese es el siguiente objetivo. Se ve bajista, no hay nada que les podamos vender de hopium en este gráfico. Hay más hopium para los bajistas que no. Si tenemos un cierre debajo de los 206 esta semana, abajo de donde estamos, bueno, ya donde estamos, ahí el precio probablemente se vaya para abajo, confirme una divergencia bajista escondida y eso nos tumbe a los 191, área de los 188. Eso es Tesla para todos y Tesla, en mi opinión personal, lleva la delantera. Este movimiento de Tesla, perdón, no sé por qué estoy intentando agregar texto. Deme un segundito. Ok. Este movimiento de Tesla de acá es lo que estamos apenas empezando a ver a Rivian acá. Eso es lo que yo creo. Puede estar completamente mal, pero eso es lo que yo creo. Que todavía no ves este movimiento jugarse en Rivian, lo estás viendo en Tesla porque Tesla es el papi de todos los pollitos. Entonces, ahí lo tienes, Tesla tal cual. All right, S&P 500, baby, let's go. This all feels like a trap today. It's too easy.
Could be. Could be.
Could be.
I mean, I think this S&P chart kind of speaks 1,000 words. So let's see where we're at. So like we had this nice dump, a big buyback, cool, got above the 21 to the 9, got the expansion into this week, and then last week, and then this week we're coming down. Very, very, very easy and bullish. I mean, this is what we'd expect if we're not going to break this last wick high, which is essentially what bulls need to just solidify the low here. Then that's fine. Obviously, then we can roll over. And this is a very obvious point for me. Just this weekly EMA 9 would be the first time we're actually back testing it since we lost it. And that to me is going to be a very key area. And not only that, it's right around that psychological level, right around 5,500. I do think that this easily can come down to here, and this would still be bullish. And you could argue the monthly could easily just put in an inverse head and shoulders here. As long as we just don't break this low here at 5,392. I don't trade off those though, but that is just one scenario I'm looking at. Easy trade though is just a wait, watch the reaction at this weekly. We're in the gray zone here, right? Unless we can base off this wick high rejection and flip it into support, that could be an easy trade. But if not, then I'm looking at this zone to be hit over time. And this is kind of what I've been talking about with Bitcoin, which stocks are bullish. S&P 500 is very nice. It coming back down would be a nice drop, and the implications on that for Bitcoin, it still could have a lot lower. 1.5% drop on S&P is not the hugest drop, but it's definitely a big one. And that is something I'll just be watching closely. The daily also reminds me a lot like how Nvidia looked like before it rolled over here. If you guys remember this, right? Dump, pump up, kind of a lower high, unable to break the high here, and then we had the downside expansion. That is something I'm essentially watching for here. If you just add a meme line here, you can just visually see it like this. So, that is something that bulls are seething. They're watching. They want to short here. In my opinion, we easily can come back down, test the 21 of the daily, bounce, reclaim the 9. That's fine, because how I use the 9 and the 21 is it's fine to lose the 9. We just base off the 21, and often then that acts as support to reclaim. That would be an easy trap. People would short the EMA 9 pretty heavily on the daily, getting lost because they're going to be looking at this scenario where we essentially lost it, came down, rejected, dumped. For me, I still think that this 5,500 will be an opportunity. We also have a 9 crossing above the 21, which signals the strength. Just the strength that the S&P 500 has. if this 9 doesn't want to keep holding, and keep in mind, we still haven't really tested the 9 since breaking out. So to me, that's still the first point of support, which is 5,580. Lose that, then yes, I think we easily can come back down to this zone, maybe wick to 5,501. But if not, the 21 at least would be the next measure target, which is 5,524. And also, why a correction is constituted here is because of just where BBWP is. It's basically at extremes here. If I can make this chart slightly bigger, it's basically at extremes, curving down and resetting. That's what you want. So what bulls essentially won here, it's quite obvious. Come down, right? It's okay to come down, consolidate, test the 9 again, prove to us that it's support. And then let this also BBWP on the weekly reset more, even go to potentially 1 or 3%, giving the daily the ability to reset, so that way we can get a big expansion move. I do find it interesting seeing BBWP on the weekly. It's so low and at extremes up here. That's very interesting to me. And once this does expand above 15% confirmed, this is going to give us a big move. I mean, last time it was around here was essentially right before we had this big breakout. So
this is like I'm sorry, this is like a volatility indicator, right?
Yeah, so it won't tell you the direction.
Got it.
It's giving you an indication of momentum.
It's called the Bollinger Bands Bits percentile. So it uses the Bollinger Bands, which tells you volatility, and it gives you that as a number. Because the Bollinger Bands, you have to look at it as visual, so it doesn't really give you a number for it. So this calculates that, and it gives you the number for volatility. That's why I prefer this one.
Got it. So it tightens up, and then it's letting you know big moves coming in.
This one is free.
It's simple.
That's why I have it, because it's free and it's confirmed. You know, volatility is expanding when it's above 50%.
The one that I prefer is called the one that I prefer is called the HPDRV. It's a little bit more accurate for volatility, but that one is not free.
Yeah.
So, Farn, if you don't mind, and this is where like the momentum pivots that I'm going to start using will come in handy. When you see volatility this low, that means a big move is coming. I'd like to, at least if you don't mind, tell me what the momentum pivot is on the weekly.
S&P 500,
SPX, the SPX. So we can get at least the statistical bias on the weekly, because as it stands, you don't. You just have candlestick theory and also structure. But I like the momentum pivots, because when you have this right here saying a big move's coming, let's at least get a bias of where we need to look.
This, by the way, this indicator is called the Advanced Stochastic by KBDV. He's also from the Crown community, but he's not associated with Crown. He's one of his friends, but he doesn't work with him.
Got it.
Dude is cool as fuck, though. He's one of my friends. He's cool as fuck.
So essentially, that's what I'm looking at on the weekly. Yeah, we're seeing this fully reset, and this can keep coming down a lot lower. It can come down to 2-3%.
All right, so right now the momentum pivot for SPX on the weekly is 55.17, and it's looking like it's about to reject getting out of the bullish control zone.
5,517. So it's still pointed up, and that's why this week's going to be very key.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the significance of that right now is that because of the area it's in, at the 60% zone, that if it flips up from here, it's telling you that bears tried to kick it out of the bullish control zone and they were not able to. So it tells you that bulls are very solidly in control.
Got it.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes sense. And like, we know bulls are in control just based on how the chart looks. And that's why I'm not ruling out a move down to 5,500, 5,510. It just depends on where that will close. Because if we do lose this 9, then that basically has moved the momentum pivot on the weekly, assuming it moves up next week, because it changes every week because it's based on a weekly, up. And then if we lose the 9, while volatility is super low, while forming potentially a lower high here, totally not confirmed unless we break this low, but that is what, if we like to front run things, that is the theory behind it. That would be bad, and we could have a lot more downside. Why I don't think that's going to happen is because of how quick this aggressive reclaim was. We got 3 candles well above, and for me, this just looks like a healthy consolidation to downside, forming still another higher low. In my opinion, there should be no reason why we should be uber bearish on this chart, especially when it's told you otherwise every single week. So I do think that is something to mentally note, 5,517. And we can keep looking at it next week where the pivot moves. Ideally, you want that to go, you want that pivot to keep going down, so price stays above it. If next week this flips from 5,517 to like 5,080, 5,600, that would be very bearish. But as it stands, it's bullish, and bulls are still in control. So watch the retest at 5,500 to the or even this 21. That's 5,500 in like $25 level. Even getting there and bouncing would still make the weekly statistically bullish while giving us this fresh cross with the 9 above the 21, which is what you'd want to see. And then the monthly is interesting because the monthly is just very much like Bitcoin. The hopium is still alive, still holding the 9. Beautiful buyback from this 9. An insane candle so far. What you don't want is this to turn into a hanging man. This would essentially, because I don't think it's going to revert all the way back down, but what you don't want is this candle body to flip red and for it to basically close like this, but to the downside as a red formation. It wouldn't be the best of signs, and then we would look into the next month giving us that downside move. But as it stands, looks great. Strong candle. This buyback was real. Bulls are in control, and if you are bullish, you definitely want to see a weekly backtest of the 9. That's very, very standard, very easy. Makes everyone short. Everyone who's using just the lower high potential is going to get smoked when we get the reaction here, which is basically the first backtest of it since reclaiming it. It would make a lot of sense to me, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. It puts pressure on Bitcoin, and if I'm looking at S&P 500, I want to look at Dixie real quick. I do believe this will start correlating eventually, but as it stands, Dixie is still under support, and it's basically flipping this now into resistance. So that gives more momentum to the S&P 500 if this does start coming down. Now, if we start reclaiming this level while SPX is looking corrective, then that's something to be mindful of. Maybe just we're going to retest this area more than just right here. Maybe we come over to 101.80. It's like 102 level. I like watching Dixie when I'm watching stocks because I think it correlates more with stocks than crypto, whereas tether dominance is only for crypto. So strong. Watch the retest. In my opinion, be mindful of BBWP expanding. If we start getting a massive move down and this goes above 15%, that is telling me that this move is to the downside. But first, the momentum pivot would have to flip down on the weekly for that to happen, in my opinion. So something to watch, very easy. A nice little gap here as well. So if we do come down, it would make a lot of sense to get a reaction around here. There's no reason at all to be uber bearish on this chart. You should be more on higher low watch. So, and I do think that could come in around 5,500.
Yeah, and the 55, just so you know, is right on 54.60. So it's right at that gap on the daily.
Yeah, it is. I only use the 55 to basically see the crosses, but great confluence in that gap fill. So easy. I'm curious though to see just where that SMA 200 is too far down. Let me just check the 4-hour real fast because I'm just curious. And yeah, I'm liking where the 4-hour EMA 100 is. I like trading off the 4-hour. That's the 55 on the daily is coming right around there, but I like the 4-hour can be easily front ran. And this will probably keep going up, matching this 5,500 level, solidifying its support. Lose that, it's not the best of signs. So for now, watch the back test. You shouldn't be surprised if you start seeing this come down more. Especially with how we were looking at Apple looking potentially right here. So which is one of the most weighted for SPX. So something to watch. Be mindful. If you're bullish, you want the retest. Very much like what we were looking for. I think it was just a few days ago on Bitcoin. You want it to prove to you it's bullish. Let's get the reaction off the weekly EMA 9. Lines up perfectly with that psychological level, and also 5,500 meme line. We get a bounce there. Good. Solidifies it. That was probably a higher low, and we're probably going to break to all-time highs again.
Well done, sir. For you next, Riot, the miner. Right. And before I start, I'm going to do a shameless plug, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We're doing shameless plugs.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. Vamos a analizar el SP500, pero antes de analizar el SP500, vamos a hacerle un plug a Elite Trading Academy. Si quieren venir al Discord a platicar con nosotros, a conocer a toda la comunidad y a empezar a aprender bien a hacer trading por acá. Si te metes a Discord, y ahorita les voy a dejar el enlace, ¿saben qué? Se los voy a poner de una vez en el stream para que lo tengan. Lo tienen en la descripción de abajo, pero aquí se los dejo una vez más para que lo puedan ver y lo tengan apuntadito todos. Ahí está, para que lo vean. No hay excusas. Ok, vale. Entonces, les estoy contando rápido. Vénganse acá al Discord de Elite Trading Academy. Ya casi somos 3,000 degenerados. Aquí tienen el análisis de Alex. Aquí tienen el análisis de Farhan, donde nos comparten todas sus locuras. Acá tienen nuestros enlaces. Quieren tradear con nosotros en BitGet. Aquí lo tienen. No requiere KYC y no funciona en Estados Unidos, pero tiene buenos fees. Acá tienen Bluffing. No requiere KYC. Funciona en Estados Unidos y en todo el mundo. Los fees no son tan buenos como este. Y acá tienen TradingView por si también quieren utilizar las herramientas que usamos para ver nuestros grafiquillos. Vengan a decir hola en greetings. Vengan a platicar en el chat general. Vengan a presumirnos sus ganancias o sus pérdidas, como de que no. Bien por todo, caramba. Caramba, felicidades. Aparte en Shiba, qué huevos. Acá tenemos un excelente 12%, también acá un 21%. No mames, Dios, ese gran short, están aprendiendo del tío Salo. No, no se crean, que van a aprender de mí. 128%. Bien, me da muchísimo gusto verlos a todos ganar, perros. Acá pueden venir a pedir tablas en Chart Request, en noticias, vienen a compartir sus noticias con nosotros. CryptoLingo, acabamos de abrir esto para que la gente pueda entender cuando ponemos ciertas cosas o cuando están haciendo ciertos análisis, y estos son, y aquí está en español, donde la gente no entiende qué es HTF. Es marcos de tiempos altos. ¿Qué es H1? Una hora en el gráfico. H4, 4 horas el gráfico. Y IMO es, en mi opinión, desviaciones SFP. Todo esto lo tenemos acá por la persona que no lo entienda. Y acá tenemos un chat de moderadores que no les puedo enseñar. Pero tal cual, únanse al Discord. Es completamente gratis. Vénganse a tradear con nosotros. ¿Cómo de que no? Vengan a disfrutar, a pasarla bien. Y aquí estamos todos los días de degenerados. En fin, vamos a regresar al SP500 rápidamente y compartir con ustedes lo que Alex me acaba de compartir antes de irnos a Amazon. Quiero enseñarles esto para empezar en el SP500. En mi gráfico, esto es aparte, Alex no tiene esto en su gráfico, este soy yo, así que tómenlo por el imbécil que soy. Pueden verlo acá. Denme un segundito. Pueden ver acá cómo estábamos en este canal, ¿no? Y nos salimos. En la mensual no se ve tan cabrón, pero cuando volteamos a ver en la semanal, lo pueden ver mucho mejor. Pueden ver cómo hemos estado en este rango absolutamente respetándolo. Caímos, lo intentamos retomar y estamos justamente en esto, ¿ok? Ahora, ¿qué estamos viendo en la semanal? Estamos viendo en la semanal que hicimos un alto histórico en los 5,673 y ahorita no estamos pudiendo hacer eso. Venimos al testear el segundo máximo y tuvimos un rechazo, lo que también coincide con este punto en el canal, lo que lo hace perder el canal una vez más. La última vez que perdimos el canal tuvimos este bajón. Ahora, esto se ve bastante bien y se ve alcista, por más que les esté yo diciendo esto. ¿Por qué? Véanlo arriba que estamos del EMA 9 y quiero que sepan esto. Si el precio viene a retestear la 9 en la semanal, aquí en la zona de los 5,500, eso sería perfectamente normal y nos podría tal vez ayudar a hacer esto e irnos para arriba. Eso sería lo que todos los alcistas estuvieran esperando en esta situación. El 9 está en el 5,500. Nosotros creemos también que puede haber un retroceso al 5,500. El SP500 está cotizando en esta ocasión en 5,595, tal cual como lo estamos viendo. Y cuando nos volteamos a la diaria, aquí podemos ver un poco esa confluencia de todo lo que estamos platicando. Pueden ver cómo vamos a estar aquí toqueteando la 9, ni siquiera lo hemos hecho. En la diaria está en 5,580. Estamos 15 puntos arriba de eso, no lo hemos venido a retestear, pero no nos daría miedo venir a probar también el 21, que está por ahí de esa zona de los 5,525. Siempre y cuando respetemos esto y tengamos un buen rebote acá, no hay problema. Si rompemos la zona de los 5,500 a la baja, tenemos que ver exactamente, tenemos que ver aquí si lo va a detener el 55, que yo no le pongo mucha esperanza a que el promedio del 55 lo detenga, pero el 100 sí, que está en 5,360. Si no lo puede detener y buscamos esto y rompemos este bajo, esto está freído, señores. Pero por ahora no nos debería de preocupar que estemos retesteando o que vayamos a retestear el promedio del 9 en los 5,580 en la diaria o en los 5,500 en la semanal y no pasa nada, no pasa absolutamente nada. Pero si esto llega a romper con fuerza a la baja, se come todos estos y rompe esto, y aparte este bajo, esta zona estaría completamente freído el precio del SP500, pero no es lo que estamos viendo ahorita, paso a paso, una por una, señores, una por una, y en este momento se ve bastante alcista, pero sí, efectivamente, tenemos que romper esto a la alza, retomar el canal, hacer nuevos máximos, porque si no, acuérdense, hay tiempo. Tenemos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 velas acá, y se empieza a acabar el tiempo para poder empujar el precio hacia arriba. Dale, probablemente el cierre de esta semana es lo que nos diga eso. Así que estén pendientes y vámonos. Ese fue el SP500 Amazon. And Farhan's doing Amazon. Oh, wait.
No, I'm doing
Who's
right.
doing?
You're doing Amazon.
I thought I was doing right.
No, I'm doing right.
All right. Amazon. Jeff Bezos.
You can if
Yep.
you want. I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but
No, I got it. I got it right. I mean, I got Amazon. Mr.
Amazon.
Bezos.
oof,
It's not looking the best.
oof, out of the blue zone.
Whoa.
We lost the blue 38.2% zone. We dropped out of it. We tried to retest the median, rejected very sharply, made a massive bearish engulfing on the weekly here, came down to the 55, reclaimed the 55 a little bit, retested this 21. But what you see right here is the 9 has crossed below the 21. So whenever the 9 crosses below the 21, it gives you your first indication that the trend is to the downside. The next thing you're looking for is the 21 to cross the 55. That gives you the silver cross. But 9 crossing the 21 gives you your first sign of the silver cross to come. Not only that, but we made a massive shooting star right here, and then now we have follow through. And what makes me even more cautious about this is that we were not even able to break above the 61.8% level. So if you have if you consider statistics, I hate this word, statistics. If you consider those, you have a 61.8% chance of breaking above here. You only have a 38.2% chance of continuing lower. The fact that we ended up rejecting this area and continuing lower tells you that this is bearish as fuck. My bad. So right now, because we're rejecting here, we have to assume that we're going to retest the 78.6, which right now aligns perfectly with this 55 EMA at $165.10 to $164.70. If we do retest that area, I would say we would be looking for a little bit of at the very least, a little bit of a bounce here. If we do get a bounce here, I would look for a retest of somewhere around this area right here, which is currently at $175. If we get a retest there and we reject, I would say we're probably going to come down to this 200, which right now is at $146.50 area. But right now it's looking to me like I would be looking for a lower high and a continuation, because in the beginning we had like a trend to the upside. So we had higher highs and higher lows. So if you look at this right here, you have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high, and now you're about to make a lower low. That's going to give you a confirmation of a downtrend. And especially on the weekly, a downtrend on the weekly is going to be very powerful. You look at our HPR momentum, flip to the downside, HPR volatility, flip to the upside, telling you this is going to be an impulsive move to the downside, and it's not going to be a corrective move. And that you should be looking for a lower high to short instead of looking for a bottom to long. You go to the monthly on Amazon, the monthly has corrected all the way down to the bottom of the blue 38.2% level, the 21 EMA, and it's currently holding at the 9 EMA, but it's still below the median. The median is at $178.54. The only way to keep hopium alive for the bulls is that you have to close above the median. You have about 2 days and 4 hours to close above $178.54. If you don't close above that, you have a statistical chance of hitting the bottom of the blue zone. We've already hit it right now, so that makes it even weaker. So because of that, I strongly don't think this is going to hold, and I think you're going to come down to the 61.8, which right now it lines up with the 55 EMA. And that one is at $136.50. We look at the weekly HPR momentum. We're starting to flip back down, and we're now in negative territory. We've lost the middle zone, and volatility is kind of flat right now. So if volatility does flip up after the next weekly close and momentum is still down and we've lost the median, that would give us easily enough juice to come down to 136 area, maybe even lower to this 100 EMA at $115. But until then, and on the jewel as well, we're looking at the jewel. The jewel is flipping over within the bullish control zone into a dark blue sell signal. So whenever it flips into this area, it's telling you that the bears are starting to take control from the bulls. and the bulls were not able to solidly keep it up within the bullish control zone. So just like how I mentioned before, where the strongest the bullish divergence you see is within the bearish control zone, and the strongest bullish divergence you see is within the bullish control zone. Same thing with the jewel. Whenever the jewel flips around within the bullish control zone, it's telling you this is a very bad signal. The bulls are losing steam and bears are about to take control. And from this area, bears have a lot of juice to keep pushing it down. At the very least, they can push it down to the middle zone, which is right here at the 50 level. And at that point, like who knows what price will be? Maybe it'll be somewhere down here at this 55 EMA. Maybe it'll be at this 100 EMA, but it's impossible to tell until that point. Let's look at the RSI. If there's some bearish divergence in the higher time frames on Amazon, I'd be like, all right, it's over. It's Jover.
I'm gonna call it now. We're going to $108.
Lines right up with the number I was looking at before.
There you go. Fuck. It's gonna get fucked. Jeff Bezos sold at the top. Who would have thought?
He always does.
Yeah, look at that bald motherfucker looking cool with his fucking big titty girlfriend, just like shaking him around.
You know what
changed the weather?
You know what changed his life?
What?
TRT.
Yeah.
Bro got on testosterone replacement therapy. He became a Chad.
Yeah, I mean, he smells from a distance of it.
Have you smelled him, sir?
No, from a distance.
Say, Alejandro?
I'm just saying, I can tell from here.
Do we have to send a message to Bolin?
No, don't worry about it. We're still good and straight.
193. See if there's any divergences here. No divergence of the monthly. On the quarterly, let's see. Oh, there's not really. I thought there was, but there's some hidden bullish divergence on the quarterly, but it's the easy target has already been played out. So, but we still have a local top. The way to get a local top is we have to get two closes below $180.79. We're already below that. So we get one close, second close below there. That's going to take like 4 months to confirm. But if we get that, we're going to have some significant hidden bearish divergence. At the very least, we have to target this 55 EMA, which is going to rise up within the next couple of closes, and it's going to be right around 109 to 108. What number is sale under?
108.15.
Perfect, fucking perfect. Lines right up with that quarterly hidden bearish divergence. And if we get another close at where we are right now, it's going to confirm. Right now, in my opinion, because of how big Amazon is, how much the market cap is, I feel like that confirmation is just a formality, and I feel like it's most likely going to confirm. 3-day, nothing. 2-day, nothing. Daily, we have some hidden bearish divergence right here at this high right here. We've already hit the easy target, which is 200 SMA, but we don't have a local low. Only way to get a local low is we have to close above 174.15. So as long as we don't get that, we don't have the local low, and the bearish divergence is still going to play out. And very likely we're going to come down to somewhere around here, which is around like $160 level, make a little bit of a bottom there. And eventually I think we're going to retest this 150s. But based off of the quarterly hidden bearish divergence, I think we're very, very likely, unless some miracle happens and we close above like $180 within the next month, I feel like we're going down to 110 to 109, maybe 108.
Yeah. Same. Seems quite weak, and especially when you're considering consumer demand is going down. That would make sense, and also margins are going to be fucking destroyed. That does make sense.
I'm going to run to the restroom real quick.
Do your thing, son. Here we go. Ok, tenemos Amazon y lo primero que les quiero enseñar, ahora sí que es un poco, hemos estado en este canal desde el 2016, para que lo entiendan, cómo respeta este canal. Lo tocamos aquí abajo una vez, lo tocamos 2 veces. Estas son velas de 3 meses, para que entendamos, ¿no? Porque no crean que es una. Acá tocamos la parte de arriba, 1, 2, 3. Eso quiere decir que estamos empatados en toques, ¿no? De la parte de arriba y la parte de abajo del canal. Y en este momento estamos aquí arriba. ¿Qué es lo primero que notan? Lo primero que vas a notar es, obviamente, tienes bajos más altos con este bajo, pero si se ponen a fijar solamente en la formación que estamos viendo, el patrón de formación que estamos viendo, que lo usamos en nuestro análisis, tenemos la famosa M de McDonald's para abajo. Esto podría ser una señal de tope cuando volteas a ver ahora sí que patrones de formaciones, ¿no? Formaciones de velas. Los voy a llevar a la mensual rápidamente. Y es más, en la trimestral les quería enseñar. Venimos a testear el 9, que está en los 154, y justamente coincide con la parte media del canal y lo rechazó para abajo y se fue para arriba el precio, ¿ok? Eso es lo primero que les quería enseñar. Ahora, vamos rápidamente a la mensual, tíos. En la mensual, esto es algo que queríamos decir, es lo mismito. Tienes la primera parte de la cabeza y la segunda, lo que te pone en esa situación de M inversa, también. Acá también viniste, intentaste hacer una ruptura de altos históricos que estaban en 189.22 hasta que llegamos a los 200 y falló. O sea, literalmente lo intentamos, tuvimos esta doble, nos bajó y nos dio este velazo para abajo, que es donde estamos exactamente. Esta vela va a cerrar en 2 días y 4 horas. Ahora, como estamos abajo del promedio del 9, esto nos enseña, y esto es en la mensual, ¿ok? En la mensual estamos abajo del promedio de las 9, del IMA 9, que está en 171.22. En este momento Amazon está cotizando en 170.70. Si es que Amazon llega a cerrar abajo literalmente del 9 en la mensual, que de nuevo faltan 2 días y 4 horas, esto mínimo va a ir a retestear el promedio de los 21 que está aquí abajo. Ahora, interesantemente, cuando te acercas un poco más, y lo pones en la diaria, acá es donde empieza a pintar, en la semanal, aquí es donde empieza a pintar cosas que no me gusta y no es nada más lo que acabo de pintar. Cabrón, Alejandro, piensa, haz las cosas bien. ¿Qué es lo que estamos viendo? Tenemos este máximo que tenemos acá. Tienes esta bajada y acá, ¿qué tienes? Una vela de tope. Y esto puede ser un alto más bajo. Este podría ser tu primer alto más bajo, un poco como lo que se está viendo en Tesla, ¿no? Que es lo que justamente habíamos platicado. Cuando les pongo mis soportes, pueden ver que hay convergencia con esta línea por ahí de los 165, 163, que también los indicadores de paja nos llevan a ese punto, donde en la semanal hemos perdido el promedio de los 21, rechazados fuertemente a la baja, igual que del 9. Y eso nos va a hacer ir a probar los 165 como nuestro siguiente objetivo. De ahí, muy probablemente vayas a la media del canal. Esto tiene mucha fuerza para ir para abajo, para que entiendan por qué lo estamos viendo así. Y cuando lo vemos en la diaria, aquí todavía se ve peor la cosa. Y pueden ver esto. Acabamos de perder, literalmente perdimos el 21, se ve abajo del 55. Aquí hay un cruce plateado a la baja, que es literalmente esta vela. Este cruce plateado a la baja es lo que nos ha dado esta acción de precio, pero también quiero que vean una cosa. Estamos abajo del 55, abajo del 100, abajo del 21, abajo del 9 y acabamos de perder el S&P 200. De nuevo, siguiente objetivo, 165, 163 a 160 dólares. Pero lo que nosotros vemos en general es que muy probablemente, ¿dónde lo teníamos? Está en la de 3 meses. Déjame ver si es en la de 3 meses. Sí, en la de 3 meses. Pueden ver el promedio del 55 que está en 90. Esto va a subir y nos va a llevar aquí. Y ahora, esto es donde hay demasiada convergencia con el precio. ¿Por qué? Porque esto, de acuerdo a los promedios, porque estamos viendo una tabla de 3 meses, que cada velas son de 3 meses, va a subir por aquí de este nivel, que es donde se junta con la parte baja del canal, que es exactamente a donde todos los indicadores de momentum y volatilidad nos llevan, que es por ahí de los 108 dólares. Amazon se ve bajista. Si no puede retomar 175 dólares para cerrar esta semana, muy probablemente vaya a comerse un nepe gigantesco. Y eso, damas y caballeros, es Amazon para ustedes. All right, let's go into Riot. We're ready.
Nice. So, very much like Bitcoin, this is going to correlate. It's Coinbase, Riot, MicroStrategy following Bitcoin. And right, if Bitcoin's not looking the best, we would expect Riot Platforms to probably not look, the best overall. So what I see here is, this is a pretty battered down stock overall. I mean, 2021, it had a nice pump up rally. El Salvador is buying Bitcoin to 100K, yada, yada, yada. And we've just kind of fizzled out. And I mean, even on like the bull market now, we barely even could retest these highs, which is not the strongest in my opinion. So let's see what we see here. Let's look at the chart. So what I see is a fresh silver cross to the downside. I see this happening, and then what we should be looking for now is rejection of any test of this EMA 9. It can even front run it. That's fine. But if we get any moves up to this $8.80 to $9, we have to look at that as the rejection zone. As it stands, I don't see why we wouldn't go and retest this previous breakout level. This dashed line here, it's important. Price likes to make almost like a spring off of it and pump, or once it loses it, it fizzles out and goes down. So, I have nothing here. You could, I guess, use the wick high rejection I was looking at, but even there, we're still basically below it now. So I have to be looking at this range here. And next support zone $6.24, which is still a big move down for Riot. But that shouldn't surprise you, especially if you've been following this stock. It's extremely volatile. And we do have that silver cross with BBWP confirming expansion to the downside because the trend is down and it's above 15%, which is telling you that this move is happening. Volatility is expanding, and theoretically it should be down. And that, plays into more of why, like, Bitcoin too is looking more weaker than in regards to like even Amazon or S&P 500. Curious to see how the monthly looks. And, this isn't good. Like, it's okay to be red here, but this just looks like a potentially, it's not an evening star, it's a shooting star. This looks like, and now we're getting that expansion down now. That it isn't something that you'd want to see. Yes, it closed red, green, but at the end of the day, it was still below the 9, and the 9 is a big point on Riot where, yeah, it can get slightly above it, like we saw at these scenarios, but overall on the downway, when it's moving down, trending down, it really likes to just reject massively from this 9 on the monthly chart. And so it shouldn't surprise you if the trend is down, that it is rejecting this point, which corresponds with this 1050. You're going to say something, Alejandro?
Yeah, that's a very toppy candle, the green one, and that's a monthly. And he went and grabbed liquidity above the averages, and then also your meme line, and then it fucking went to shit.
Yeah, exactly. And this liquidity grab, that's what you can call it since it's left a wick. I mean, it basically just filled some of this here down, trapped some bulls at front run. This is why I always tell people no trigger, no trade, because had you not waited for the closure and longed up here and been, oh well, we're above the 9, we're reclaiming, this is a deviation, this is looking good, you would have gotten fucked on this way down. And that's kind of what we're seeing now. People probably did do that and they went out because they're looking at what Bitcoin did on Friday and they're like, I want to buy this, or even like last month, and Bitcoin is pumping and maybe this is lagging. But as it stands, this chart looks terrible. And I don't think that this $6.19 is going to hold, but we, I guess, have to look for that first. But really, I'm looking at this support zone at like $3.80 to $4, which is still very, very, very heavily. It still has a long way to go if it wants to hit this point, which I'm not ruling this out. This is a big range overall, right? It's very volatile. It's attached to crypto, and it's in the mining sector. This level, though, this yellow line is yellow for a reason. This is kind of like the zone where, like, once it's pushed below it, we just die and fizzle down. There's not even worth drawing any support lines down here. This should be the one line in the sand, because when we're above it, we get massive moves up. Above it, massive moves. Nice reaction, boom. So coming back down to here wouldn't not be the best sign, but we can't disregard this $6.30. And I am curious. Let me just see on the monthly if I use this range here from here, just out of curiosity, right? And where is that 2-3? Where is basically the bottom of this area here coming? Perfectly at the $3.65. So I don't consider that a coincidence that's happening. Something to watch. This is also an ugly candle that's closing in 2 days. It is basically under this wick low, my apologies. And if it closes like this, then what you would have to do, in my opinion, is draw another meme line here, make this solid. This is more like not a mid-range. If we close a monthly below there and we put this here, you would then look for this to reject if there's a super strong downtrend.
By the way, is the silver cross to the downside on the monthly right when Bitcoin topped?
Let's see. So right here's we had it on May 2nd of 2022.
Can I add something?
Oh no, that's May 2022. Never mind.
Can I add something? Yeah. So whenever Bitcoin absolutely topped, like whenever the bear market actually started, it was around December of 2022, and it was on monthly
Yeah.
bearish divergence on the
So
RSI.
there was. Got it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, all good. So like essentially, yeah, we don't have any crosses yet. We, like Farin mentioned though, right? What the 9 is now under the 21. It's just showing the weakness in trend and can also lead to potentially a silver cross to the downside. But that would mean that this would have to mega dump for this to go lower, in my opinion. We do though have it on the monthly, the weekly right here, kind of fresh too, happened around April. Slightly weak, going up above it, going back down, but it's still valid. And that just solidifies the volatility and the choppiness of this stock. It's very hard to gauge. It's very extremely volatile. But overall, it's bearish. You'd expect this 9 to reject here. And we have to look at lower around $8 and $6 to $6.80. Before I go, let me just go to the quarterly, and this kind of speaks it all. So like very much like, what was it? I think it was Upstart. Or another stock. We were looking at probably three.
For what?
Remember when the quarterly had the potential of forming this kind of candle? I forgot what stock that was exactly, so it's not relevant. But essentially, this is kind of what we were looking at in that other stock where
Rivian.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want that to basically form this, which like heavy all the way down. This is bearish AF, and this doesn't look good. And like I said, it doesn't take really a genius to see that this stock is just kind of effed. It had a nice run up back in the day. It did its thing, but it's just kind of fizzled out. And it's just giving me like delisting vibes. Like over time, this is just gonna like die out, especially if it couldn't even catch a real bid, during 2023 pump. So not good. This quarterly looks pretty bad, and it's rejecting this 9 now. And keep in mind, I mean, Riot basically doesn't like to be above the 9. Obviously, looking at this quarterly, the easy trade is just playing it anytime it's under the 9. And if we're using that metric, it's freshly under it, and it just freshly rejected it right at $10.80. So, overall, there's no reason to be bullish on this chart. Let it prove to you it's bullish. The trend is still down, even on the quarterly, and I'm not looking at this low to hold over time. It wouldn't surprise me if we did break down. But then again, we have to watch this $6.11. It's just a simple meme line. But when I'm seeing a silver cross to the downside, I'm seeing a rejection now. It losing this last rejection high that was basing off of it, and on top of it, BBWP is expanding, and theoretically, it's down now. The trend is down, and the chart's breaking down. You have to like look at that really, just objectively and say, yeah, this thing is fucked, and it looks bad, and there's really no buy here at all. And if you're buying this, and you just have to like ask yourself why and when, and like what's the thesis, because this is the 6 month too, and this just looks heavy.
Whoa.
So it looks, it's delisting vibes to me. Like it looks like this is gonna run its course soon over time. It'd be a miracle to even see this go back, in my opinion, above $15, I'd say. But if it can get back, if it can basically get back above $20, you can argue that it's more bullish. But look at where price is at now, and
look at Bitcoin now.
Yeah, exactly. So
Bitcoin is fucking nuking. I already got the notification.
Yeah,
it's not the best sign. I can take a look at Bitcoin real fast, just like 1 second, and yeah, it makes sense. It's now on the edge here. I gave the short trigger this morning right here. It would not surprise me if it rolled over. Bears are flexing right now. That's what's happening. They're flexing, and they're kind of showing bulls right now that, yeah, they're in control. And like, we couldn't even go and retest this 61.3 instead of rejecting this diagonal, now flipping this into major resistance and getting that expansion down. And we talked about this this morning, that if we're really bearish, this is the spot where we will reject. And here we are. And so right now, what we don't want is this low to get lost at 57.6. If we do, it's going to give us a big drop. People often look at my chart and say, well, look at the ranges. They're so big. Yes, because we trade very volatile assets, and Bitcoin mainly ranges, and these ranges are big. As soon as we lost this range, it was a mega nuke to where? The meme line at 48.8. So it makes total sense. And if we come back down to here, it's definitely not going to stop, I don't think. With that weekly momentum pivot's going to fire, most likely bleeding into the monthly. And I do think this 41,000 to potentially low 30s is going to be where Bitcoin bottoms. Something to watch for sure. And yep, that's it. That's That's what I see with Bitcoin and Riot. Not good, pretty bearish, and rejected. Essentially, where bears wanted, if bears were fully in control and they wanted to flex on everyone and kind of flex today, that's where they would have rejected, and we did. So it's not a good sign.
What I'm looking for right now, if bears really want to flex their muscles, drop it below 57, and now it's all right. We're done.
It'll be over.
We're probably going to 44K.
Yeah, it'll be over.
It'll be Jover.
I'm looking at my short, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling cocky, which is a bad sign. Which
Bro,
means
it's fucking printing.
Which means this is probably the.
You know, whenever I feel like that, what I do? Whenever I feel like that, I close half of it.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
The emotions tell you something, so I close half. So as long as I've closed half, I've secured half of the profits, and I'm like, all right, whatever happens, I don't give a fuck.
So that's the non-degenerate way. I don't trade. I have my system, I have my levels, and I don't front run them for anything. I just set a break even, essentially, no risk on the trade, and just write it down.
It's because of how your emotions work too. Because if you understand, like to me, every time, and I learned this after doing it a few times, every time I want to share my P&L, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's I need to sell, because every time I go like, look, I got 89% on my trade, instantly, as soon as I post that, it goes against me.
The one time I broke my rule was when me, Alex, and my brother went out for my birthday to the club, and I was showing everyone how I was up 10K, and I was drunk as fuck at that point. I had the entire bottle of whiskey to myself. The entire bottle of whiskey to myself. I was like, look, I'm up 10K. The next day I lost 40K because I didn't close there.
Yeah, and that's one of my trading rules. If you are happy enough to screenshot a P&L and send to your friends, then take the profit. And that's why I purposely won't screenshot positions, because it's like it's a weird thing with me. I'm like, fuck, I just said I have to TP now, and usually it has an 80% hit rate though. So on your point though, on closing, just watch tether dominance on the weekly. We are pressing the EMA 100, massive level. That's like my first indication of if it's bear market or not. And right now we're at it. Few days before closure, we want to pump. This is where we reject on tether to maybe give bulls a little bit of a leg, but in my opinion, honestly, it's not looking good. And like right now, the only hopium I can even think of today is if Nvidia just totally slams earnings and risk on can get a bid again.
I think that's what's going to happen, and that's why the market's all negative right now. I don't know. It's going to bother me so much.
I just think that's such an
why I think it's going to happen is because next month Nvidia is about to release their 5,000 generation of GPUs, graphics cards, and everybody's looking forward to that.
Yeah, I have no bias on it. I'm redacted. I literally just click buttons and draw meme lines. So I don't know any fundamental things about Nvidia, but all I can say is for sure is if it doesn't do well today, that's going to bleed into Bitcoin, and that's not going to be good. If it's already weak it's just not going to be the best. So
the only reason why I even look into this shit because I'm a massive computer nerd, so I love Nvidia.
Touche. I'll give you. You have Snowflake. Snowflake.
I used to hold this shit.
Snow.
Yeah. And the next one,
GM. I lost so much fucking money on Snowflake.
Did you? Were you one of those people that lost money?
I bought the top. I bought the fucking top.
It happens, dude. Never getting to an IPO. It's so risky, right?
Yeah. I learned my lesson.
Rivian would have taught me a big lesson. I wanted to buy it, and then I can't remember why I didn't. Thank God.
The only reason why I bought it is because this dude who brought me into crypto, the guy who I posted on my Instagram, he was saying like buy Snowflake. I was like, all right, I'll buy it. I ended up eating fucking shit on that thing.
Well.
By the way, I'll never copy trade anybody.
By the way, right when I said this has got to be the bottom because of whatever, and it might not be, it fucking bounced up. So fuck me, right? Because I'm telling you, like, you can use your own feelings as a pretty good indicator when you're going against them.
We call that intuition. Feelings.
You know where I bought Snowflake? Can you guess?
At the top.
Let me pull up my exact buy price.
Like
you guys are gonna fucking laugh. I paid $280 for Snowflake.
No. What? It went that high and now it's 7? Yikes. Oh no, I'm looking at Riot. Jesus. Let me see.
Yeah. Let me share Riot with everyone right now.
Oh my God, Faran.
All right, I'll mute myself in the meantime.
Vale, pues. Estamos viendo Riot en este momento, que es justamente lo que nos enseñó Alex. Y para empezar, sí, lo quiero poner en la temporalidad de 3 meses. Cada una de estas velas son 3 meses, damas y caballeros, para que tengan una idea. Quiero que entiendan esto. Esta acción ha caído brutalmente. O sea, brutalmente, brutalmente, brutalmente. El pico ha llegado a 3,633. En este momento está cotizando en $7, ¿ok? Para que no se me emocionen y se me pongan de, güey, ya va a reventar Riot, se viene el nuevo mercado alcista. Bueno, aquí estamos parados, damas y caballeros. En Riot. Algo que vale la pena decir son 2 cosas. Una, cuando simplemente estamos viendo análisis de formaciones, bueno, sabemos que tienes este bajo más alto y este bajo más alto. Bien, pero ¿qué también tienes? Tienes este alto, este que no parece un alto y este. Este es una vela de tope potentísima. Y lo único que pudo haber cancelado esta vela de tope, para que entendamos, hubiera sido un cierre aquí arriba. Y nunca ni siquiera se acercó a cerrar ahí. Pero la confirmación fue un cierre aquí abajo. Y tienes 1, 2, 3 y en la cuarta está cerrando ahí abajo. Si esto cierra aquí abajo, ese fue el tope del movimiento y probablemente vayas a buscar bajos nuevos. Y además, esta es una vela tal cual como la tienes, que es igual de poderosa que esta, diciéndote que este es un tope también. Y de nuevo, confirmación sería abajo del cuerpo de la vela, de donde sea. Cuando volteamos a ver espérame, déjame también saco los promedios. Puedes ver que el 9 nos rechazó, el 21 nos rechazó y aparte el 9 tiene una convergencia con este punto de los 10.60, 10.97. El precio de nuevo está en $7.61, lo que es bastante, bastante alejado de poder retomar esto. Y este es un gráfico de 3 meses, por lo que para adelante vaya a ir todavía más para abajo. Voy a ponerle el gráfico de un mes. Riot es una empresa minera de Bitcoin. Si a Bitcoin le está yendo del culo, a ver, se imaginan cómo le está yendo a Riot. Cuando lo ponemos en la mensual, te da otra más de esas vibras. Tienes este tope, este alto más bajo y empiezas a crear bajos más bajos. Entonces, mínimo en la mensual ya empiezas a darte una idea de la fotografía que estás viendo. También el promedio del 21 está aquí arriba. Hemos sido rechazados por el 9 que estaba en 10.17 y ahora estamos en 7.62. Tu siguiente punto van a ser por acá de los 6.20, 6.14. Ese va a ser nuestro siguiente objetivo en esto. Vamos a voltear a ver a la semanal, a ver si encontramos confluencias. En la semanal es un poco de lo mismo, con un cruce plateado a la baja que se dio el 24 de abril. Y con este cruce plateado, vemos que no hemos ni siquiera ido a retestar el 9. Una oportunidad acá en esto es, tienes un cruce plateado a la baja como lo tienes acá. Cada que llegas a la 9, shortear. Shortear, shortear. ¿Cuál es tu punto de invalidación? El 21. Arriba del 21. Pero el 9 debería de rechazar el precio y mandarlo para abajo. En la diaria vemos un poco de lo mismo, con todo, literalmente todo muy por encima. Tuviste ese cruce plateado, ese Silver Cross desde acá en agosto del 2024. La caída, el rechazo del 21, lo puedes ver ahí. Y ahora te está rechazando el 9, te lo rechazó acá y vas a ver si puedes volver a subir. El primer punto que no quieres romper son 7.24 si eres alcista en Riot. Una vez que lo rompes a la baja, nuestros siguientes objetivos son por ahí de los 6.50 y de ahí tranquilamente a los $4. No se ve bien. O sea, como le quieras buscar a Riot, no se ve bien, damas y caballeros. Y tal cual, rápidamente vamos a ver Bitcoin. Ese short que tengo abierto todavía, no lo puedo creer que ahí voy. Uf, el 9 y el 21 están a punto de cambiar de lugar. Interesante. Alrighty, let's do
Snowflake.
Snowflake. Please share your screen, senor.
Got it. Looking at this thing always gives me such a headache. I'm like, why the fuck did I buy this so high up there?
I also don't buy stocks that I don't really like. If I don't like the stock, the moment that it disappoints me, I dump it. And then it might go up. So
Yeah,
I
this
just
was
rather have something I understand,
this was
use like
back during my retard period when I used to copy trade people I thought knew what they were doing. So
yeah.
this dude tells
We
me, "Oh,
all
you
go
should
there.
buy Snowflake," and I'm like, "All right, you know what you're doing. You got a couple hotels, like you clearly got some money, so you know what you're doing." Little did I know he doesn't own those hotels. His father owns those hotels.
Of
That's
course,
a different story.
most of the stories are like that.
All
Oh
right, so
wow, we're basically at support. Whenever we drew this chart last, that's exactly where we at.
on the weekly on Snowflake, we dropped below the blue 38.2. We held below it for a little bit. We tried to reclaim it, ended up dropping below it again. Retested it, lost it again. Now currently we're losing it, but we're retesting it and rejecting from there. Right now we're at the 61.8% level. So that tells you only have a 38.2% chance of continuation from here. But the fact that we're rejecting the 5 EMA tells you that this is not just bearish, it's very extremely bearish. We look at our momentum indicators. HPR momentum is at extreme levels, but it's trying to flip back up. It's not quite flip back up yet, but it's more of a neutral signal right now. We look at our volatility. Volatility is starting to flip back down. So that's telling you that if momentum does flip up, that we should be looking for a lower high and a corrective move before we get another move down. And if it does flip up, what I would say is, because we've already tested the 5 EMA and rejected it, what I would say is that we probably come towards the 9 or the median. Right, I would say more likely is the median, is because the median is right around this rejective high right here, and the median is currently sits at around $134.15. This number is going to come down. I feel like it's going to be right around here, which is currently at $132.50. So if it rejects that area again, very likely we end up going down from there. And let me see if I can get like a little bit of a target from that for us to look for what we would look for on that move down. Let me zoom this out a little bit.
It's retesting the lowest price that it ever, like the lower lows ever, and it kind of broke it like a month ago.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. Literally at all-time lows. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm glad I sold this shit when I did, because I would have been eating absolute fucking dog shit. I put in like 15K into it and I lost like 7. So I would have lost way more than that.
Glad you didn't.
Where did my fibs go? Oh, I erased them. Let me just draw them again. Not the biggest deal. And I felt like absolute shit for selling it at a 7K loss.
I bet. I mean, it's the same to all of us. Who hasn't been fucked by some good old financial advice?
Like it doesn't, like, that doesn't bother me so much. What bothers me is when I think, what could I have bought with that 7K? I could have a hell of a time in Miami with 7K.
Hell of a time.
Or Dubai.
Yeah.
And you already know I'm a degenerate, so right now,
I certainly know.
Yeah, so right now on the weekly, we're rejecting the golden pocket on that move up where we on this red candle, and we're making a bearish engulfing. Not only a bearish engulfing, but it's a very massive bearish engulfing where it went significantly above price, and it closed significantly below. So after we get that rejection from the golden pocket, we have to expect somewhere down this 100% zone, which is at 107.93. My confirmation is if we close below this 107.93, almost certainly we're coming down to this 161.8. That level is at $81.84. So that is like, how much of a percent drop down from here? Another 27%? Like, good Lord.
Holy crap.
God have mercy on anybody who's still holding this piece of dog shit. Let's check the RSI. That's why nowadays I don't feel so bad whenever people are like, "Oh, I bought this because somebody told me and I lost a lot of money," because I've been there.
Yeah, we all have, dude. Come on. We all have.
Quarterly, nothing. Monthly, let's see. Yep, right here. We have a high right here on the monthly at $177.71. We have another high over here at $199. A little bit of a hidden bearish divergence, but it's not the strongest, and it's already played out because we've already hit the bearish control zone, so it's not that big of a deal. But if we do drop from here, Our next target is $130.58, which is even lower than the number that I was looking at before. Let's look at the weekly. We had some bullish divergence in the weekly, but it's been invalidated because we made a local high. So we have nothing there. The VNP on the weekly, which is once again the variation of the jewel with the volatility, is flipping from a neutral to a dark blue sell signal. It's not confirmed yet. It will confirm if we close below anywhere below this candle's close, which is at 115.86. If we close below that, it's going to confirm as a weekly sell signal. Go to the 5-day, nothing.
Below 115?
Yeah, it's below I think it was on the 5-day. 115.54.
Got it. So definitely going to close there.
Very almost certainly it's going to close there. We have 7 days left, and this thing is a piece of dog shit, so it's unlikely it's going to move that much. 3-day, we have some confirmed hidden bearish divergence. It has still not fully played out yet. Our next target, we've hit the easy target, but since we were so close to the bearish control zone, I feel like it's going to go lower. And our next easy target is the bearish critical zone. And right now, because this RSI tells you, that number is at $117.05. Very close to that previous. Oh no, my bad. I'm retarded. That's the bearish control zone. We've already below that. That number is $53.47. This number is going to go up on the next close. It's going to take a couple of closes before we even get anywhere near that. Probably like 3 or 4 more closes, which is going to equal out to around like, I believe, 12 days or 15 days for that to play out. At that point, that number will probably go up to somewhere around the $80 zone, which is the number we were talking about before, somewhere around $80 to $81 based on the fibs. 2-day, we have multiple drives of hidden bearish divergence. The easy target has already played out because we've hit the bearish control zone, but we have not had a local low yet. The way to make a local low is you have to close 2 closes below this candle's open, which is $115.05. If you close 2 above that, then you've negated this bearish divergence. But until then, it's still active. And until that has happened, until you get 2 closes above 115, you have to target the bearish critical zone. And on this chart, that number is at $61.73. And once again, this is a 2-day chart, so it's going to keep moving up after every 2 days. Very likely, it's going to come back up to somewhere around this area right here, which is at I need to draw a fib for this because we don't have previous price action. Oh my God, this magnet kind of pisses me off sometimes. Right around that $70 area. So everything is telling me somewhere between $70 and $80 for this piece of garbage snowflake right here. So I gotta say, pressure is to the downside unless bulls can get 2 solid closures above $115 on a 2-day or a 3-day. After that, I would look for a lower high again. And if somehow they can get a close above that previous area that we were looking at before at let me pull it up again.
115.
Yeah, 115. They get 2 closes above that on a 3-day. Then I would say that at that point we can move back up to retest the previous rejective highs. But until then, I would say it's extremely bearish. Yeah, I'm glad to see it bearish now that I've sold it.
Yeah, now you don't care, so it's easy.
I already took my loss. I took my loss.
I don't know when. Maybe I just did this before we started this because I don't remember doing Snowflake. But I had this bottom right here, and then I had this trend line right here, which it broke, and then it went to the bottom. So it clearly went to where I thought it would go, which is pretty clean. I'll take it. But man, I guess even though I put this is crazy to see that it's at an all-time low. All right. Well,
yeah, your chart's clean. That's nice. We got that easy bearish retest too at the bottom of the channel before going down.
And if it breaks this shit,
Yikes.
yeah, there's like completely uncharted territories for this thing to the 80s, which is right around here. I was going to put that there. Thank you, sirs. Okay. Vale, estamos viendo Snowflake. Por cierto, qué viaje se ha dado Snowflake desde sus potentes altos a donde está en este momento. Tristemente, el pobre de Farhan también tuvo que vivir esto. Él compró esta madre en altos cuando no sabía nada de tablas y lo tuvo que vender abajo, pero nada que ver con cómo está ahorita. Pueden ver literalmente lo que habíamos hecho antes en algún casino del tío Salo, donde teníamos esto bajando, esto subiendo y habíamos puesto precio acá como siguiente objetivo. Probablemente lo hicimos acá en mayo y vino a retestear y volvió a caer y está logrando mínimos, o sea, mínimos. Esta es una vela bastante bajista, igual que la que es acá. Este es un tope total y le estás viendo jugarse. Ahora, voy a prender los EMAs rápido. Podemos ver que fuimos rechazados y estamos abajo del 9, estamos abajo del 21 en la mensual, lo que se ve mal para adelante. Ahora los voy a llevar a la semanal y en la semanal pueden ver también cómo tenemos este alto más bajo, este alto más bajo y este alto más bajo. El precio rompió y este es un bajo más bajo que todos, por cierto. Este es 107.81, es lo más bajo que ha llegado. En este momento Snowflake está cotizando en 111.97. Estamos abajo de todos los EMAs. Tuvimos un cruce plateado, un Silver Cross a la baja en abril 24, lo que nos dice que todos los retesteos del 9 hasta que lo tome los shorteas y hubieran funcionado cada uno de ellos aquí tal cual y nos muestra la debilidad del precio. Cuando volteamos a ver en la diaria, un segundo, cuando volteamos a ver en la diaria, podemos ver que estamos en la misma, donde el 9 intentó retomar encima el 21, pero volvió a caer y seguimos buscando mínimos más bajos. O sea, literalmente no hay ni dónde echarle salvación. Lo único que podría salvarnos en este momento es si Snowflake, si eres alcista, puede cerrar arriba de los 115, pero en gráfica de 3 días y tener 2 cierres ahí. Eso ayudaría bastante al precio a poder bajar todos estos promedios y poder empezar a intentar retomarlos y subir de ellos. Pero por ahora lo que estamos viendo en todas las gráficas, en todas las temporalidades, es nuestro siguiente objetivo. Si no podemos cerrar arriba de los 115 en 2 velas de 3 días, es $80, 81, 31, $80. Ese sería el siguiente objetivo con todos los indicadores de Farhan. Así que Snowflake no se ve nada bien. ¿Será este el fondo? ¿Alejandro debería comprar el fondo? Podría ser, pero recuerda que es como en McDonald's también los fondos igual que los topes. Esto podría ser el bajo y el segundo bajo tiene que ser más bajo para que pueda jugar esto de acuerdo a lo que estás buscando. Así que vale. Alex, let's do GM.
Cool. Yeah, so we're
No,
gonna
wait,
start.
is that you? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. So we're gonna start on the monthly here. I just want to bring up this candle. It's closing. Pressing resistance now on top of the upper Bollinger Band on the monthly. Break this level here, and I think we can see 53 fairly fast, but technically at resistance, strong candle. And this monthly Bollinger Band is interesting to see if it is going to expand and then get above. That'll be a very welcoming sign. What we don't want is it to solidify this resistance and then it closes as a doji. Again, 2 days is closing, so we'll watch that closely. Why I think, though, this is very strong, not only for this monthly, but look at this silver cross to the upside with the 9 confirming it. Basing off the 9, nice wick down, basically back tested, almost support really fast to go back up. That's what we want to see. That's like very strong. It's a strong sign. The weekly also solidifies. This is resistance. So, what we don't want is this to start rolling over. Can't break $50.43, and it just rolls over here. I don't think that's going to happen. If anything, I think that we could easily come back down to $46.45, and then see the reaction there. Let it keep proving to you that it's bullish, and so far it has been. This was a big deviation reclaim of the meme lines, essentially after rejecting this $50 level, we'll call it. This is what you want to see. Strong candle of last week, and then this week is going to determine if we see the follow through. And if we do, I definitely think we can hit $53 fairly fast, or if we reject and start coming back down. But for now, yeah, we're in a steady weekly trend. This low here essentially can be looked at as this low wasn't the best because it essentially broke down this low. That's why it exasperated it. SFPs to the upside is nice, and that can happen where we break market structure and come back up, trap shorts, and then basically resume the trend. We just really want this high at $50.60 to get broken. I'm curious to see kind of where this EMA 100 is now if I put it on. Yep, and we can just basically see we caught support right there at the weekly, which is nice. You know, and it's cool when you see that because like for a while this was this green EMA 100. If I take the 55 off, so there's no confusion. Was basically holding price down for a while. Break back above, come up, hit resistance, nuke all the way down, bounce off there. Looks to me like a simple back test to expansion. So in my opinion, it would be wise to look at this as potentially more of a breakout than a breakdown here. Like I'm saying, you should have more of a bias of bull than bear, but we can't disregard this level here. It's a big level for GM, but also we're seeing volatility tick up above 15%, expanding, so that can give more basically momentum to the monthly potentially breaking above its upper Bollinger Band. Let me see here. Throw this back on and let's go to a lower time frame like a daily and just see what we kind of see here. Let me throw this off. And so yeah, we can see this basically is giving us a fresh silver cross to the upside right here. It's a welcoming sign. So if we do reject here, it kind of plays into what I was mentioning. I believe it was on the weekly, where like we just basically want us to come back down to this $46 level. If I was trading this, I'd be looking then at the daily, because we have that 21 perfectly at 46.11, and then also this 9 right at 47.31. Fresh silver cross to the upside on the daily shouldn't be negated. It should be as an opportunity to potentially fill this gap and backtest the 9, which is what you'd want to bid. Would make sense for me, in my opinion, for this to roll over, come back down, hit this, people short, assuming we're rejecting just like here, only for it to catch support, form some kind of higher low on the daily for more of a chance to break out, while also giving the daily BBWP a chance to reset more. That would be very welcoming. And this is something you should be watching, because this freshly happened on August 26th, so it is fairly new. As it stands, though, great chart at resistance. Watch the 9 on the daily. If this doesn't hold, then I'm looking at 46. If 46 doesn't hold, then I do think this is going to come back down a lot lower, potentially even breaking this low at $38.94. But you can't long resistance, right? So you just want to wait. You want to wait for confirmation. You know, in my opinion, seeing kind of where this weekly will close will be important. Make sure it doesn't, we don't want this to turn into a reversal candle like here. You know, a doji is fine if it closes like that, or even just closes as a normal candle body, would be fine. Consolidation, though, again, welcomed, and BBWP's confirming the strength of the uptrend potentially. And for now, I'm more biased on a little dump, back test 46.47 to go to 53.78. You know, if we can break 53.78, then I do think we have a bigger chance to basically test these highs here. Right around $64. But one thing after the next, we still have these two levels. Monthly is looking kind of insane, which is great. It's what you'd want to see. And we're getting that fresh silver cross on the monthly. So, you know, ideally, then you would just see where this 9 on the monthly closes, since we do have the cross. And I would just play that. Basically, any back test hitting that, which then will just bleed into the weekly and the daily and all that, hitting the major levels. You know, but I would use that as my gauge, because we have confidence because of the silver cross. Strong chart at resistance, so be mindful. You know, wouldn't long here, wait for a pullback, 46.47, and then maybe take the leap. Why I like that number 2 is not only this, but if you see where this last rejection high is, it's right around that $46 level. Pretty key level. We can flip that, in my opinion. So that would be basically, if you look at this line here, we were unable to flip that and hold it. So ideally, I'm liking potentially maybe reject a little bit, comes down, and then can push up more. Very bullish would be a welcoming sign and can help basically the daily reset. Overall, that's all I see, though. The crosses are happening. It's bullish, and that, you know, that silver cross on the more higher time frame kind of solidifies it. It's a lot stronger when it's on a weekly or monthly than on daily, 2-day, 4-hour. And also the monthly candle solidifies the strength. So
it's very fucking weird that GM is pumping when they're doing shit for sales, and that every other car maker is going to shit, but GM is pumping. Oh, but don't worry, guys. There's a piece of news right here that they just hired the former Apple executive Tim Twyla to strengthen software division, which is interesting because Apple couldn't figure out their electric car.
Have you guys noticed that whenever GME is pumping, the rest of the market is going down?
I have not noticed that. Is that true? Because if that's so, that's
almost
something I'll
always.
watch.
Whenever GME is
Really?
pumping,
No,
S&P is
wait.
going down and Bitcoin is going down.
You're
Almost
talking about
always.
GME. We're talking
Yeah.
GM.
Oh, I thought you were saying GME. My bad.
No,
GME.
no. We're looking at General Motors, son.
Is GameStop
My bad.
pumping now?
Excuse my retardation.
No. Is GameStop pumping?
Uh,
I haven't looked at it, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay.
mm,
I thought you were looking
not
at
really.
it and saying, no, right? I
No.
think GM. Before jumping into GM, should I just jump on GME real quick just because we're curious?
Might as well. For me, it's not pumping and it's breaking down slightly. You don't want to lose 1880 on the daily.
Oh, no. It's absolutely dog shit.
But like I said, when I analyze this, let's watch the monthly because the monthly is still holding the 9 to 21. You can get back and hold that. That'd actually be kind of welcoming because back testing yourself on the monthly, it's basically been pressing price down. So flipping that into support is, I guess, the only thing I can see that's hopium for it, which is, interesting for me to say because usually I'm bearish.
This is super bearish if you look at it like this.
Oof. Yeah, and what's that last low right there? That green. Yeah, what's the last low at the bottom?
Right here?
Channel? Is that 18?
1866.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we don't want to lose out on daily.
Remember, this is the crying zone. We are already in the crying zone. This is where the little sad face with the cry was. That's right there.
I see.
So yeah, any breakdown of this is going to take us probably to $3 again. So let's hope for everyone that put all of their money and, thanks to Roaring Kitty and Wall Street Silver, like that dude, the Wall Street Bets guy, he's definitely selling this shit. Either way, let's go to GM.
Did you see what Zero Hedge posted about Roaring Kitty?
No,
He was like, watch these calls. He's like, and now we have it. Roaring Kitty has sold all of his calls.
he has.
Yeah, he sold his calls and he sold most of them for cash, and he converted the rest into shares. So now he's, I believe, like the 4th largest holder of GameStop.
Well, good luck with that.
Super dumb. And that rejection that happened was super obvious. And then he even gave you like a little lower high on the lower. It was just dumb. And it just shows that he doesn't understand technical analysis too much. Because I would have definitely sold that shit once it gave me that lower high pump. I think he added to it, and that's just stupid.
Yeah, I don't fully. Well, I think he's working for funds. I mean, there's a lot of psyops in accounts out there that are owned by the government.
Do you remember when he disappeared? His account was like I think 15 million. He reappeared with like $280 million in his account. Where the fuck did he get that from?
Yeah, I know. He must be the greatest investor. He puts his money in 100x's and never fails. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Supposedly, he bought Solana at the bottom, which people are saying. I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that.
Highly doubt that.
Supposedly, he bought Solana at like $10 and he sold it in like 150 area.
Knowing him, he would have told everyone he did that.
Yeah, and then he put all of his money, all of it, into it. Right? Like that's what everyone that knows how to invest does. You put all of your money in one play and then hope that it works out. And thank God all of his plays have worked out. It's just fucking retarded either way. GM. Aquí tenemos GM, General Motors, damas y caballeros. Por alguna razón, y esto es bastante extraño, GM está pompeando. Y digo que es extraño porque todas las marcas de coches están siendo castigadas. By the way, guys, look at Bitcoin. I told you, I'm fucked. My sense of wanting to brag, it's like dead on. Okay,
that's funny.
What's your entry in the short, by the way?
58.
58?
No. 50. Hang on a second. Almost 59.
Yes. So are you currently underwater or no?
I am. I'm break even right now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give any financial advice, but if I was you, I would put my stop loss at 60,300.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same.
So now we're pumping.
It makes sense that we're pumping. Like I said, tether dominance hit.
It's what we said.
Resistance again, and then also though bulls need a pump here, or they're fucked. It's going to 49K fast.
You guys want to look at the 8-hour on Bitcoin real quick?
It makes sense to me that we pumped, and I told the Discord to close the short here at 57.8.
But the 8-hour is very close to silver crossing to the downside.
Now the hourly doesn't
Alejandro,
mean like yes,
Alejandro, you want to pull up the 8-hour on Bitcoin?
nice hammerhead on the hourly, potential local bottom here, but we're still under the 9. So
Hourly?
8-hour.
8-hour.
Click on that little triangle right next to the monthly, and then you should be able to pull up 8-hour.
No, I had it. It's just this
you got
fucking thing was taking forever to load. Here it is. What a liquidity grab, upside and downside.
gotta love it.
Fucks both sides, bro.
Yep, gotta love it.
Of course, it's Bitcoin. How can he do anything else? Now, this is a horrendous, horrendous.
I wouldn't do
right
anything here. I would do nothing here.
No, it's basically this. This shit goes back to 60, 644. I'm shorting again.
What I would do here though is like I would not advise anybody else to do this, but what I would consider doing here is I would consider selling some $70,000 calls.
Oh yeah, because a lot of people, you'd find buyers left and right. No doubt.
You would easily find them, and you would print so much fucking money selling those calls, and then after 2 weeks, when those calls expire, you get to keep that money.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. Okay, let me just do GM and finish with this because I need to run. I'm sorry, I need to leave early. I have an appointment.
All good. We can continue afterwards if you're cool with that.
Oh no, absolutely not. Please, that'd be awesome. 1 second. All righty, let me.
Or we can do it in Discord too.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the best because otherwise, how the fuck are you going to share the screen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, we can do something on Discord potentially, but no, it works out fine because we have to go check out something anyway soon.
That, and I also think Bitcoin's going to be fun. Yeah.
Our humble abode.
Yes, we'll talk about that too. Ok, estamos viendo GM, que de nuevo, no puedo entender por qué GM en este momento está pompeando cuando todas las demás marcas de coches están cayendo como locos y no es como que GM le esté sacando más dinero a sus coches, pero tenemos hasta un cruce plateado, un Silver Cross aquí a la alza en la diaria. Cuando volteamos a ver la semanal, y esto es lo que estábamos platicando hace nada, en la semanal lo tuviste aquí atrás, que es una locura en febrero, y te ha dado este zampompazo hasta acá. Se parece bastante a la figura que hizo Nvidia, si lo quieres ver así. Estás arriba del 9, arriba del 21, todo tiene sentido en este momento. La cosa es, cuando volteas a verlo, puedes ver que creaste este bajo, alto, alto más alto, bajo más alto, alto más alto. Este bajo sigue siendo un bajo más alto y ahorita estás parado justamente aquí en $49. ¿Qué es lo que buscas? Si eres alcista en GM y quieres entrar, probablemente quieres esperarte a que tengas un retesteo del 9 en la semanal o en la diaria, lo que te acomode. Tener un retesteo de la 9 para poder pensar, ok, voy a abrir una posición. Y ahora, aquí mucha gente muy probablemente vaya a abrir un short porque tienes este máximo y cuando tengas el rechazo, mucha gente se va a poner bajista porque van a decir, güey, este bajo es más bajo que este. Entonces, una vez que eso pasa, toda la gente se va a poner bajista. Lo único que vas a esperar es tener un buen rebote en esta zona y a la alza. De aquí podríamos decir que tú, una vez que rompas literalmente 49, 43 y puedes poner abrirte un longuillo por acá si se te antoja, yo creo que vas a romper los 50, 52, que va a ser tu validación de que vas a tu siguiente objetivo que está más arriba. Y tu siguiente objetivo está en los 53, 52. No hay mucha volatilidad en GM jamás, se mueve muy poco, lo pueden ver, ha rangueado desde el 2020 hasta ahora. Estamos literalmente en los mismos niveles, pero sí, ahí lo tienen. Se ve alcista la tabla, nada más. Personalmente no entiendo por qué o cómo. Tiene sentido que esta empresa de todas las de coches, que no hace absolutamente nada, bien, esté bien. O sea, algo han de tener que no sepamos. Sí, acaban de contratar al güey de Apple que hace el software, pero Apple falló en la creación de su coche eléctrico. Así que con eso los voy a dejar. Me voy porque tengo varias citas ahorita y nos vemos pronto. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos en este casino de su tío Salo. Ya saben, les dejamos el enlace del Discord para todo lo que necesiten. Lo tienen acá. Únanse, vengan a platicar, es absolutamente gratis. Pueden en inglés, español, hay gente que los va a ayudar con las preguntas que tengan, etcétera, a lo que busquen. Les mando un fuerte abrazo. Gracias a todos por vernos. Pórtense bien y nos vemos el próximo casino. Bye.